Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Retrograde Christmas Special 2015. My name is Jack Marshall, and I'm joined today by Lizanne Fisher.
Hi.
Anthony Hobday.
Hello.
And James McFadden.
Hey.
We are back once again with the Retrograde Masters. It's been a little while, but we're back here for one special episode today on Christmas.
Reunion.
Bang on Christmas Day.
I'm glad you guys had nothing else going on today.
Yeah, nothing.
Reunion show.
Reunion show.
With friend of the show, James.
Friend of the show, James.
You've made that joke at least twice before.
This is the
time
first time I can remember that I've made
It gets
that joke.
funnier every time as well. We are not going to be doing a retro gaming episode particularly today, but
7
we
out
are
of 10.
going to be doing a...
Wait, what? I thought we were doing all the snow levels from Donkey Kong Country.
I thought we were doing Snowboard Kids. I thought we were doing 1080
we should've
snowboarding on the Nintendo 64, which was actually
we were
an
doing-
I thought we were
classic
doing a
every
Winter
time.
Olympics
Are we naming
game.
games with snowing, are we?
So we're doing
Yeah.
SSX. We're tricky.
We are going to have a look back at the year 2015 and talk about the year that was in gaming, as well as films, books, obviously, books,
Yeah.
TV shows and magazines.
So could one call it a retrograde retrospective?
Oh, we really could have called it that. We should have called it the Retrograde Retrospective
There's still
2015.
time. We haven't released this yet.
Retrograde Retrospective 2015.
Can I make a point?
Go.
I've just realised the chair I'm sitting on is
Squeaky.
quite squeaky.
You're not allowed to move,
Well, just don't
Anthony.
move then.
Just stay still, man. I think we should do 2004 actually, because it's much better. For example, Metal Gear Solid 3, World of Warcraft, Half-Life 2, which is an overrated piece of garbage, but nonetheless came out.
It's a good thing our listeners can't respond directly.
Yeah, I know, right? You're never going to be able to contradict that. Half-Life 2 overrated. It was a good year. Also, 1998, the original Half-Life. I don't know why I'm gauging this on Half-Life, because I really don't like the games. But that was a good year as well. 2015, was it?
Yeah. 98 had Grim Fandango. And GoldenEye. No, GoldenEye was 97.
98 had Ocarina of Time, though, right?
Yeah, it did. And Metal Gear Solid 2, I think.
No, it
It's
didn't.
interesting that
Metal Gear Solid
you...
1?
Yeah, Metal Gear
Yeah.
Solid 2 was on the PS2.
It's interesting that you trash Half-Life, but then mention the 2 years in which the first two games were released as the best years for gaming. I feel like maybe you're just ignoring the truth.
I'm bowing to the general consensus on that one, I think.
Yeah.
So it has been quite a while since we've all sat together. This is nice, isn't it? This is good fun.
Can I make a shout out?
A shout out to who?
Can I make a shout out to Annie, my girlfriend?
Anthony's got a girlfriend.
She's listening.
I should make a shout out to my girlfriend then.
Jack's got a
She's
girlfriend.
better than Annie.
Wait, have you made them fight?
No, not yet. We tried, didn't we? They weren't having it. We just kind of like pushed him in a room.
I took Annie aside and said, listen, I heard that Kirsten said something that wasn't considered to be pleasant by everyone involved about you. And she was like, I'm a killer. I was like, Annie, please calm down, take this knife. But please calm down.
But we that's all the news we have. So that's quite interesting. These guys have much bigger news this year. So should we do a little bit of what have we been up to?
Well,
since,
actually,
like,
first,
March?
before we get to that, I'd just like
Go
to
on.
do a shout out to my mum. Hi, Mum. I'm finally here on the internet, like you said I would be one day.
She always said you'd be on the internet, didn't she?
With you, yeah.
But you're on the internet for good reasons this time.
That's what you think, but wait until the response comes into this episode, Lisanne. Because after calling Half-Life 2 an overrated piece of garbage, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, we lost all the ratings. then.
Nobody's listening.
Ruined the Christmas.
very
tree.
true.
They're gonna post my info on 4chan and get them to ruin my life. No, don't do that. It was a joke.
Someone's going to say in a review that, quote, James is an overrated piece of garbage, and you're going to
Oh, I bet it'll be
spiral into
Anthony.
depression
That
immediately.
is the low-hanging fruit, though.
You'll become like a meme. Like
Yes.
the incorrect.
That's what my dad
podcaster.
always said I'd become.
A meme.
Mum said I'd be on the
What,
internet.
even when you were
down.
little?
Yes.
Ach, wait, James, you're bound to become a meme, you are. Is that what he said?
Yeah, he had learning difficulties. How did you know?
It's uncanny. I've never met James's father, but it feels like he's in the room.
Yeah, well, I wish he was.
Aw. It's dark. But James, you are talking about wee old Scotland. You're going back to Scotland.
Yeah, I'm moving to Edinburgh.
They're
shortly.
kicking him out. They're kicking
I've finally
him out.
been deported. The day has finally come.
David Cameron
They found
found
out.
you.
They found out you voted
I
yes.
mean, what he's done with the pig, I thought it would be fine. You know, but it turns out it doesn't work if you're not the Prime Minister. So, I'm gonna go to Edinburgh, which is a very beautiful city. It's kind of like Scotland's answer to Glasgow. No, it's kind of like Scotland's
Scotland's answer to Glasgow.
to Brighton. Yeah. No, Glasgow is Scotland's answer to the third world.
That's true.
And I'm excited, yeah, there's a castle there, which is
I love Edinburgh.
Historical.
Edinburgh's beautiful.
Yes,
I spent 2 summers
awesome.
there doing the Fringe.
I'm going
It
up
is
just in time
fantastic.
for New Year's, though, which is really not... I mean, some people love Edinburgh at New Year's, but it's
What are you on
so
about? It's the
packed.
biggest party in the UK.
Yeah, but it's literally...
Oh, it's insane. I
Like-
haven't been.
I've never seen a higher concentration of people in one location in the
Yeah.
UK ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll probably be staying in.
Leave your valuables at home. Take what is the minimum needed,
When you say
and leave a spare key
It's good
outside your
life
front door in
advice.
case you lose it.
Just
or
leave your
you
door
get
unlocked.
mugged.
Scotland, it's not like it's England.
Well, yeah, no,
No
that's
crime.
true. Yeah,
when you say that you went to Edinburgh for 2 summers in a row to do Fringe, I
they
immediately
weren't in a row, 2 years apart.
Oh, I immediately imagined that like you wanted to grow a fringe out, but didn't want anyone to see the in between state, so you
so I
retreat.
hid in Scotland.
You retreat to Scotland to grow your fringe.
Yeah.
That must be what happens, because, I mean, if you dye your hair, what happens if you want to either change the colour or make it go...
Dye over it.
So, but what if you want to go back to your regular colour? Then do you
You
have
just
to find...
dye over it with your regular colour.
And then we'll keep doing that until eventually it's...
No, you just need to do it once because then the roots that grow in will match because that'll be your normal hair
What
colour.
if they grow out the colour you dyed it before?
Well, then why were you dyeing it in the first place?
How would that even happen?
That's it.
It doesn't. It doesn't change your genes.
So if you're... Well, I mean, actually,
hair doesn't
I change
go,
my
"Oh,
jeans
Well, if
every
you
day.
get someone
We're
your
doing-
jeans, you have
hey.
to change them.
But he goes, "What we're doing blonde now, are we? Okay, let's go blonde." And
But when
That was the noise
babies
of
are
hair
born, most often their hair is dark, but yet some of them go blonde when they're older.
babies, yeah.
I
Babies
don't
in my
think-
family the other way.
I don't
Babies in
think
my
that's-
family are always blonde and then get darker.
That's good. I think dark hair is a sign of strength.
I also don't think any of the evidence you're using is relevant.
It's a good chat going to Edinburgh.
So, because James is going to Edinburgh, I have a goodbye present for him, and then I figured, well, technically, this is probably going to be the last time we ever sit around and record all in the same room.
Not
'cause-
necessarily.
Not
well, it's going to be quite
Necessarily.
Necessarily.
Because Jack's the
Yeah.
only one who lives in Brighton now. So what I've done
God, that's so depressing.
is, Anthony, I know you're a minimalist, so if you don't want it, I won't be offended.
I'll
I will
take it.
gladly take it back.
Are they all the same?
They are all the same. So what I've got is a framed picture of all of us from our wedding,
Oh, I look like such a goofy
from mine and Neil's
motherfucker.
wedding,
I
so
get
that
lots.
you can all,
Oh, that
so
is
you can
really
all
thoughtful.
keep the photo and have it.
I look good.
To
don't I?
remember, you all look good. That's why I picked that
Oh,
one.
yeah,
He took about
yeah.
5. That's the only one we've all got our eyes open.
Thanks, Sam. That's a really thoughtful present.
That's really
That's
nice.
all right.
That's going on my shelf.
Well, you could put it where you like. Put it in your toilet. I don't mind. Look at me when you
I just
wee.
realised you're wearing a tiara.
It's not a tiara,
That
it's
says
a headband that
awesome.
says awesome,
Yeah. It was
Kind
a
of
very
looks
good
like
wedding.
that.
I had a great life.
Thanks.
We should tell the listeners how it was all lots of it was video game themed and Brighton football team themed, which sounds
Yeah.
like it wouldn't work.
No.
But it worked really well.
The colour scheme, colour scheme for Brighton Hove Albion is royal blue and white stripe. I did because then the shirts look like deck chairs,
Yeah.
obviously being by the seaside. And as we were getting married
It was
on a pier,
On a pier, that's good, yeah.
so we just stuck with the blue and white theme, and then had loads of video game references
Yep.
in there as well. Like my wedding bouquet was white roses, and my mum made over 100 felt ice flowers in
I
the
like-
blue and white.
And the cupcakes were mushrooms, and it was
Mario
clever
mushrooms,
how
yeah.
the red ones were normal, the green ones were vegetarian, the purple ones. Did someone make this up to me that the purple
None
ones
of
were
the cakes-
gluten free?
No, right. None of the cakes had meat in, so they were all vegetarian.
Except for the meat cakes.
Except for the cakes,
yeah.
obviously.
Oh no, the red Mario mushrooms were raspberry and vanilla flavour.
Oh, okay.
The green ones were chocolate and mint flavour, and the purple ones were gluten and dairy free.
Ah, there you go. That was.
And if you get
Clever
the
though.
purple one, that means get the
Yeah, kinda.
We should talk about the fact that it was a lovely day, but obviously it was completely overshadowed by the DeLorean.
completely overshadowed.
The
Yeah.
jacket was. He actually had to go and have a lie down.
We went, so there was you did like a whole thing of like a doc actor dressed up as Doc came in
Yeah.
and stuff like
A
that.
dog
at the end.
actor.
And he was
Is
like,
that a
do
dog
It's all right.
becomes an
I'll
actor?
explain it properly in a minute.
you want to do it now? Because even
Okay.
just thinking about it gets me a little bit gushing. It's too sad.
Do you need a towel?
That's not
kinda
even a
do.
euphemism. That's just obscene.
Yeah. So obviously,
Why are you taking your clothes off?
we got
mop it
married.
up.
We got married on our 3rd year anniversary of meeting, which luckily was on a Saturday. And obviously, it was also 3 days after Marty Travels to the Future and Back to the Future. So as soon as we booked the pier and knew that we weren't going to need wedding cars because no one was going to see me arrive in it, and we weren't going anywhere between the ceremony and reception. So we had that 500 quid that we'd earmarked for special fancy, like the proper wedding cars. We had that and we were like, well, that money's become free. And my sister, for her wedding, had surprised her husband with a 1960s Batmobile that turned up and did rides
Oh,
for
wow,
everyone
that's cool.
between the ceremony and the reception. And so yeah, I said to Neil, well, why don't we get a DeLorean? He said, what? Really? Can we? I was like, oh, why not? So we found up some places, and after the venue, that was the second thing we booked. And we had that booked for a year. Anthony knew about it, but other than Anthony, no one else knew.
Yeah.
I knew, I just didn't say anything.
Well, I was doing the
Maybe.
music.
Yeah.
And then I played it, and it was the Back to the Future theme, and I was like, uh-oh. And you're like, we want you all to come down to the front of the pier to come see something. And I was like,
Oh no!
what?
Hang on, hang on. Okay, I'll explain. So, during me and everyone did speeches, obviously, and then Neil and I did a final joint speech where we said thank yous to people and gave up presents to our parents and stuff to thank them for all the money they gave us, and then during our speech, I'd arranged for one of my A-level students dressed up as Doc Brown to come and burst into the reception, and we acted out the end of Back to the Future where Doc comes and takes Marty and Jennifer to the future. So we did that, and then Neil and I just went bolting out of the reception following him, and no one had any idea that was happening either, apart from Anthony. He knew, so that he could help.
Because you were the Toastmaster. not
Yeah,
just 'cause
Anthony
you
was
had to know.
Toastmaster.
Tell me what's happening.
Who,
He was
by the way, I've
Toastmaster.
had-
I thought I was having a stroke.
I've had loads of feedback from my family and friends who don't know you, and they all said that they loved you and thought you were hilarious.
You were fat. I was laughing my arse off.
It was
Yeah,
great.
it was good.
I
It was
chuckling.
really good.
It was good.
It was really good.
Proud about that.
Well done.
It's very kind of you all, but I think the best speech giver on the day was Lisanne.
Oh.
And
You're
I
just saying that because I'm in the room.
No, I know that you are trained in drama and you teach drama for a living, but I was, and perhaps I shouldn't have been, but I was genuinely surprised by how well delivered your speech was and how well written it was, which I think means you're probably in a very good position to do both those things well. But it was
Thank you, Anthony.
it was a pleasant
Well, I
surprise.
did get a first for script writing and a first
Yeah.
for acting, so
Back
you
to
know.
the back to
what
the
else?
DeLorean.
It's I think
So
yeah.
so then thank you, Anthony. So then we pegged it down the pier, and where the rest of my A-level sixth form class are waiting, dressed up as the entire cast from Back to
That
the
really
Future.
tickled James for some reason.
Sounds like a euphemism, I'm sorry.
Oh, pegged it down. Oh no, that's
We
so
pegged
rude.
it down a bit.
That wasn't rude when I was younger. And
Weirdo.
And then so then Anthony and the wedding coordinator, and all the staff, they started ushering everyone out and down the pier, and then people started arriving and they saw the full working replica of the
Working.
DeLorean, fully working, and it then
Time
gave
travelled.
everyone did loads of pictures and stuff, and then it did rides for 2 hours.
May I raise a question? You say a replica of the DeLorean.
Yeah, it's not the actual one. The actual
actual
one was
one.
destroyed after
Oh,
production.
see now when you I
They
imagine
destroyed it.
that-
Did you not
But
see
had
it get
all-
destroyed?
It had all
No,
it had all the time travel.
No, I was under no
It had the
illusions that it was the
Blockbuster.
actual one from the film. I just thought you meant it was a replica DeLorean, as in.
Oh no,
some
it was a
way
real. This guy had bought a DeLorean and then done it up.
attached a time device
Yeah.
of some sort.
Yeah, and that one has been used at an exhibition where Marty, Michael J. Fox, and Christopher Lloyd have sat in that exact one.
Has Neil come back to the future yet? Because I've been meaning to talk to him about. A few
Yeah,
things. Also, the flamethrower.
but don't forget that night the clocks went back, so technically we did all time travel.
Don't you think we're all time
I-
traveling right now? And also
That's
hurtling
true.
through space. And we're all going to die one day.
I went down there
Woo,
and I was
nihilism.
like, my heart was racing because I'm a big Back to the Future fan. I've never seen, and I was really getting excited to the point we got there and it was like, okay, so.
Did you think it was going to be a DeLorean?
Our friend, I started working it out, and our friend Chris came up to me and he was like, "You must be pretty excited about all this." And I just put in the room, I put my hand to his face, and went, "Mate, I just can't be dealing with this right now," and just gestured at his face. And he
you
was
sure
like,
that wasn't me?
Oh, it might have been you. I thought it was Chris because I felt bad afterwards, and to the point where there were so many people crowding around it that I turned to girls and said, "We need to go back to the hotel and come back." Because I can't.
Yeah, no,
I can't handle
Jack
this
had to go and
so
have a
I
lie
had to go have a
down.
lay down and come back an hour later when it was all gone. He was doing the rides and I got to sit in it. And annoyingly,
Did you
I
have
thought,
the ride?
yeah, I went and ride in it, and I was like, "Be cool, be cool, be cool." Because the guy, I was like, "Oh, I don't know much about these time machines." But Kirsten went in before me. She was like, "By the way, my boyfriend's like a massive Back to the Future fan. He's like really excited. We have to go back to the hotel and have a lay down about this." So by the time I got in it, the guy was like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy who's like a massive fan, aren't you?" He's like, "No, not really. No, I'm all right. Trying to be cool." But no, I faked and
Because
just
when I came over and spoke to you about it, because you were facing away from the DeLorean, I was a bit surprised.
I couldn't look at it.
Jack said to me, he told me that he'd found out they had it for a certain number of hours, so he said, I can't handle all these people around it, I need to be alone with it.
Yeah.
So
When I was
they
in
went
the-
away so that he could come back later and be alone with the time machine.
When I was in the car with a guy, he went to do a U-turn to come back, and I was like, "No, just drive. Just keep driving." But yeah, it was a great day. That was fantastic.
It was awesome.
It was a really
good
nice
fun.
day. It was technically the best wedding I've ever been to.
It's the only one you've ever been to.
Yeah.
But thanks. Now I've set a really high bar for all subsequent weddings.
So
Not looking at you, Anthony and Jack.
I didn't really know what was going to happen at any stage, so I wasn't.
Didn't you have a copy of the programme?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't grab one.
So you didn't do the achievements on the back?
No, but everyone else at the table did. So I kind of basked in their glory. I felt very confused at points, but when I don't know why. I think it's just the way my psychology is. But when you said everybody has to come down to the end of the pier now because we've got a really big surprise, I just started to panic. Like I had no idea what it could possibly be. Like I was hoping it would be something just doing.
We're all gonna jump in the sea.
Well, I thought it could be some kind of like suicide pact or some kind of like ritualistic thing. Maybe the wedding was actually a front for some. But I'm glad it turned out well. It was a really good day.
Oh, good. I'm glad. No, it was really good. It was just really, really hard being pregnant. The whole day.
You're pregnant.
I'm pregnant. It's all right. Neil knows it is his.
Okay.
Yeah.
So technically, there's 5 people recording on this show now.
Technically, there's 5 people now. If I feel the baby, I'll let you know.
You have to let your kid listen to this show. Seriously, it's like I mean, this is the high point of
what do you think
lives.
it's going to be listening to as it
listen,
falls asleep every night?
Listen, the Sans Child. I'm speaking directly to you now.
Voice.
Hi. Hey.
Oh, are we talking to the Sans unborn baby in the future?
Yeah.
Oh god, what advice would we give it?
Don't study hard in school. Listen, people will tell you you're smart, but actually what matters is that you work hard. That's the best advice.
No, that is really good advice.
Focus on podcasting. It's got great career prospects in there.
There's always money in the podcast.
There's always money in the podcast game. Yeah. Always money.
Baby Skinner, promise me one thing. Never ask Lizanne about August 13th, 1998. Your mother has a dark history that she doesn't want to reveal.
I'll put a harp sound effect there and have a little pause for a moment.
Amazing.
Anyway, guys.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, little baby. So
little baby Luigi.
Currently, or Mario. Don't know yet.
Or Anthony.
Or Peach. Could be any sex. Don't want to impose gender on it too quickly.
That's
If you call it Zelda, it could be either sex.
That's true.
No,
yeah.
see, Neil let me call the cats Link and Zelda. So, listeners, sorry, Stanley died, and we got 2 new kittens to replace him, and we called them Link and Zelda. So he let me call them Link and Zelda, knowing that I did actually want to call my son Link. But he said, I'll let you call the cats Link and Zelda, because then we can't call
I
each
feel as
kids
though he's
Link
made a
and
good
Zelda.
tactical choice there, because if you called your son Link, he would probably have a hard life.
That's what Neil kept saying.
Especially because Link is the girl.
Zelda, however, is a very masculine
What are
Yeah.
acceptable, well-known video game character names that would also be suitable for a baby?
Crash.
Crash. Sounds like a wrestler in the 90s.
Leon, Chris, Jill.
Mario and Luigi are very
but you know
popular
what I mean. But if someone said
Italy.
if someone said, "What's your baby name?" I went, "Oh, Leon." I went, "Oh, what? After Resident Evil 4?" They go, "No, after Leon, you idiot." Like,
What, the film?
No, but okay. So, something
Lara.
so actually, Mario
Lara.
and Lara is a good one. Lara, you could get away
You can't
with.
call him Mario.
Daisy.
Good, yeah.
No.
Daisy would be fine.
If you live in
Daisy's good.
Italy, that Marios and Luigis are everywhere.
Right, but that's fine. But as an English person, if you call your son Mario, people are like, what?
Anyway,
Gordon.
this is all a moot point because I have
Kranos.
Kill that sun spider.
I have an offer for the listeners.
Oh,
In a bonus retrograde Paul Monaghan competition giveaway.
are we? Go on.
We're open to
cannot
name
give away
suggestions.
your baby.
We're not
Oh,
giving
right.
away the baby, but if people want to tweet name suggestions, that would be
Paul Monaghan,
hilarious. Well, we could
obviously.
call it Paul Monaghan,
Paul Monaghan.
obviously,
God,
but
that'd freak him out a bit more, wouldn't it?
yeah, exactly.
Paul Monaghan
freaked him
Skinner.
out.
We
enough.
have fixated on that guy with a strange intensity over the years.
He loves it though,
He
doesn't he?
tweeted us.
Does he?
tweeted
Because
No, he does.
I would
about
say
the
I
show.
loved it, but I would be worried. There's something bad was going to happen.
I should say at this point a big thank you to all the listeners who have got very excited about the fact that I put out one tweet saying we're going to do a Christmas special, and a lot of people tweet us and message us getting very excited, so that's very nice. Thank you for saying
We're big
that.
enough to have people who are
Paul.
interested in our shows, but not big enough that we won't individually thank every one of those people.
You know who you are. That'll do.
Yeah, I'm not really going to take name suggestions. We've already decided on the names. But,
Can you?
Yeah.
Have you really? Have you actually
Yeah.
really?
we're just waiting to find out which gender it is so we know what to call it.
Yeah.
But we know what names we want.
You know it's either boy or girl, so that's all right.
Well, yeah, that did limit the options somewhat.
Or the one we don't talk about, the third option.
Well, that's the old Rod the Dangerfield joke, where he's like, whenever people have said how many kids he got, he said, "Oh, I've got 3, one of each."
The third one's Lizard Baby, right?
Lizard Baby.
Lizard Baby?
What other? Anyone got other news about the last 8 or 7 months or something like that?
Hang on, I did my list for events.
Or should we dive into?
Oh no, I have
talked.
talked about everything I wanted to.
I know that I've already given a shout out to Annie, but on the 7th of December, we had our first year anniversary.
Oh,
Oh, has it been a whole year?
anything nice?
Oh, congrats, Anthony.
I very cornily, if that's a word,
Cornerly.
cornily, like corny.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant you cornered her. Okay, carry on. I cornerly put
Not everyone
her in the
Well,
Approaches
I
women
did,
like you
but that
do.
was just over a year ago, and we've been happy ever since.
Rocky style.
I cornily recreated our first date,
Oh, that is
And-
really sweet.
and then we went to a restaurant that was expensive enough that I would never consider going there
Again.
for any other occasion. But we enjoyed the,
What is it? A restaurant in London?
Yeah.
What was it called?
It's called Fredericks. It's not really famous or anything. It's just sort of high end for me.
I can't do that, cousin, because if I recreate our first date, I went to the wrong pub. I went to a pub called the. I told her let's go to the Wagon and Horses. I actually went to a pub called the Hare and Hound.
Brilliant.
And if you guys, anyone who's in Brighton knows, the Wagon and Horses.
Yeah, Wagon and Horses is ages away on West
is-
Road.
It's a dump as well. And I said to her, we'll get burritos because the Hare and Hound does incredible burritos. Wagon and Horses doesn't.
And it's also 100 metres from your house because you're
Yeah,
such a badass
and-
player.
And I know. And she was like, okay, let's go to Wagon and Horses. And I was like, we can have nachos. And she was like, okay, that's weird because I don't do that, but all right, sure. So I'm sitting in here and I'm thinking, she's a bit late. Where is she? And I had to. She texted me and said, where are you? I said, I'm on the left side when you walk in. She goes, no, you're not. And I was like, yeah, I am. What pub are you in? I went, oh, I'm in the Hare and Hound. So I had to run all the way over there, meet her. I was sweating. I was like, no, you're right. And then realised we went to another pub, drank all evening. They went, wait, have you had food? She's like, no. I was like, oh, we were meant to eat food, weren't we? She's like, yeah. I went, oh, let's, we'll walk back
Oh my
home
God.
and then we'll try to find food on the way. Obviously, she's a vegetarian, so nothing was open on the whole high street. The only thing that was open was McDonald's. And I said,
Brilliant.
no, we're not going to McDonald's. This is the first date. I'm going to treat you. All the way up the high street, all the way back again. Went, better go McDonald's then. So McDonald's. So that was our first
Do
date.
they do
Went to the
vegetarian food at McDonald's?
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
Don't they fry everything in like ground up dog feet oil?
Well, first date, there you go.
Dog feet oil
I'll try and
vegetarian.
recreate McDonald's in my own house or something.
No,
Or just
that would
buy
be a
McDonald's.
great first date to recreate because it's funny.
What, I've got
Mine
to
and
tell her,
Neil's-
what,
mine
I've got
and
to tell her
Neil's
to turn up to the wrong pub, then I'll
Yeah.
run down 20
Tell her to
minutes
go to the
later.
Wagon
Yeah,
and
that would be
Horses.
hilarious.
Then go to the Hare and Hounds and then wait until
No,
she texts
you tell her to go to the Hare and the Hounds.
That's a
And then you go to the
terrible
Wagon and
idea.
Horses. No, it's very sweet.
It's not really. It's a
No, mine and
terrible
Neil's
date.
first date was a disaster as well. He didn't book the restaurant, so we couldn't get in because it was fully booked that night.
What
So we
restaurant was it?
Chili Pickle.
Oh, okay.
Then we
yeah,
ended up
sorry.
at Pizza Express, where he then
Terrible.
spilt his beer all over me.
Oh, I don't know.
Um,
It's first one as well.
Yeah.
That's
It
kind of
was
like
just to get
it's,
your dress
it's a good sign. If the first date goes wrong and she still wants to see you, then that's a good sign.
That's a good sign,
But
yeah.
see, to me, this simply confirms something that I've long suspected about myself, in that my experience in life is very unlike the people around me. Because I don't remember a first date with Charlotte. I just remember a kind of...
I mean, you guys started off as
It
friends.
sort of crept up on me. It snuck up on me like a cloaked figure.
You mean she snuck up on you like a cloaked
slowly
figure?
Embraced me and then dragged me down into the depths. And there I remain.
It was like the swamp scene in Lord of the Rings.
Which one?
The one where they see the...
Fellowship of the Ring.
With
Yeah.
the hobbits.
Oh, wait, or you're talking about when he looks into the water and sees the dead body and the eyes open.
It was like that, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a big octopus.
Wasn't
I was
that
like,
in...
You compare
Wasn't
Charlotte
that
to a
in
massive octopus.
Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, where he looks into the water and sees all the zombie things?
Actually,
Yeah,
That's
it's like that
forgetting.
as well.
That's in there as well.
it was
yeah.
like
Oh,
the
okay.
bit in Lord of the Rings where they're hiding under the log from the ring wraith and it comes on, except instead of riding off, it looks under the log and picks them up by the hair and then dashes their brains out against the tree.
But romantically,
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Should we roll into a retrospective of the year 2015 then? And
Yeah.
we should kick it off because straight
Just
before,
casually roll into that.
straight before the show started, Anthony mentioned something that now we're recording this pre-Star Wars. And
Yeah.
Well,
Anthony
life
has,
is not separated into pre-Star Wars and
It is,
post-Star
I mean,
Wars.
it's
Have you not
It's-
heard? They're changing the dating system.
But
That film is gonna
so
suck.
listeners, you'll be very
whoa, spoilers.
For listeners, you'll be very, very pleased to know that we'll be absolutely nothing spoilers because one, we haven't actually seen the film, and two, we can't really talk about it much because Anthony is a media blackout.
Yeah, I'm on blackout.
Which, let's
He
be honest,
is a media blackout.
to be
all
honest,
on his own.
Don't invite him to your press releases because he will
but it's
screw those
but
up.
it's. But I'm more interested in the fact that it's impossible to do a media blackout of Star Wars because it's everywhere. It's all over
It
the
has
place.
been impossible, and I've seen
Like,
some
you
things
must
that
be
I wish
dying
All you
I
have to do is look up at night.
I've seen some things that I wish I hadn't, but
We all have.
Oh,
as
it's
much
a dark world
as
out
much
there.
as I can limit it, I will.
Okay, fair enough. But so yeah, we won't be talking about Star Wars pretty much at all. But I guess we're all going to go see it, right? I'm actually not, to be honest.
That's
I
not a
got
retrospective.
tickets booked for the IMAX.
I think we
It
should.
also doesn't fit into a retrospective because it's not out
Yeah,
yet.
that's a good point.
Is that okay that it's in 3D? Is that a bit of a spoiler for you? Sorry.
I'm going to see it in 2D.
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
No, I see it 3D.
Andrew doesn't do 3D.
Are films still in 3D?
Pointless.
Because
He's a hipster.
that gimmick did not take off.
Well, let's sort.
Apparently
well,
it did, because they keep putting out major films in 3D. For
That's
good
because they make
times.
so much more money. Does anybody actually enjoy it? Anyway, we should
Oh.
point out that we're actually probably going to ruin a whole stuff that isn't Star Wars.
Yeah, let's be just. There will
So
be.
if
there
you're
will
concerned
be,
about spoilers-
we'll try. I mean, we're not going to be idiots about it and go, "Oh, the ending was brilliant." But yeah, there will be some spoilers about stuff this year. For example, I was going to say about 3D. I saw The Good Dinosaur a couple of weeks ago.
The ending's brilliant.
I want to see that.
And the
Yeah, I
3D,
need to see that.
the only thing, I mean, to be honest, it's an alright film. It's pretty good. It's visually stunning.
Oh, yeah?
It's like photorealistic.
Is,
Yeah.
is it like the...
Even with a
even
dinosaur.
though it's CGI.
No, but you'll see what I mean. The scenery in the background is incredible. And in 3D, it generally made me go, this is fantastic in 3D.
Is it like the Pixar B team or something? Because I know they released Inside Out, which I loved.
There
But
was-
how did they
They
make
just
it?
they just stepped up.
There was a
production.
change of writer and maybe even director during the production of Good Dinosaur. So I think
It's like
it,
3 months later. They can't have a 3
and
month release
also,
cycle for these
it
films.
feels like
They're not just working on one film at a time.
But then why not
They're
stagger
working
it?
on like
they-
5 films at
they,
a time.
they took a year break, didn't they? Because I don't think last year Pixar did a film. So I don't know what happened. It feels like something in production was gone weird. But also it was weird because Good Dinosaur didn't have much of a marketing build up. Inside
No.
Out,
I,
I
didn't.
kind of
I had
knew
no
about.
idea it was out. I remember looking forward to it and then being surprised that when you
It
mentioned
was,
it.
I think it's better. I was going to say my kind of disappointment is even though they were good films, I thought Inside Out and The Good Dinosaur were a bit. They're in my middle subpar of Pixar
Really?
films, which is still very good.
I loved Inside Out.
The concept of Inside Out was absolutely fantastic. They could have taken it further, but obviously I understand they needed to keep
Yeah.
it simpler for the audience.
It was actually quite cerebral.
Yeah, they could have
considering.
It was, yeah. It was a really, really conceptual film. I did enjoy it. It was really good. It did get very dark, which was quite scary.
It could have got darker though.
Oh yeah, it could have.
Imagine
It
how
could
dark
have.
that could have gone.
Could've
But
killed
it was
herself.
really, really interesting, and it's a really good way of trying to explain to kids about why they or people they know feel certain ways,
So
and
like
that
the
it's not
orbs.
their and they can't necessarily
I
control
have
it.
found something interesting. Maybe it's just to people I've spoken to about it, but people I've spoken to about it, females who I've spoken to about it, loved it loads, a lot more than guys who I've seen seeing it. And I think
didn't
that's
love it
just
loads.
because I think it's just because the lead character was a girl and they could relate to it a lot more. I could still relate
Yeah,
to
because
it.
we're simplistic beings who
No,
can
No,
only
but-
relate to people similar to ourselves.
Well, no, surely. I mean,
No,
this
but it
is
just
a-
seems like it was quite an emotional. Like when people I've spoken to said, "Oh, it's really, really emotional," and I didn't find it that emotional.
Well, technically,
That's 'cause you're dead
it's
inside.
literally about
Yeah.
emotions. Like the film might not be super, dry your eyes at the end, but it was literally about human psychology and emotion, which is
Yeah.
probably something, in totally general terms, men are less interested in than women.
I just thought like because it was a girl and when she gets upset at the end with her parents and stuff, I wasn't that touched by it.
I don't like that Anger was a man. I understand they need variety of character, but in all the other instances they show, like, they would generally be gender specific. Like, they'd have all female emotions for the mother and all male emotions
Oh
for
yeah,
the
that's
father.
weird. Yeah.
As far as I
yeah.
remember, but for her, maybe they were trying to suggest he was a tomboy. She played, hockey and everything, and she was
Yeah.
quite sporty and
The
everything.
women are tomboys, not men. Men are just boys. So it would
That's what I'm
still be
saying.
a woman.
There was quite a lot of weird. Look, if you dug into the actual psychology behind Inside Out, it kind of got weird because like the lead emotion in her dad's head was anger. So does that mean he's just an angry person?
No, it wasn't, was it?
Yeah, it was. The anger guy was sitting in
Yeah.
the middle. Hers was joy.
Also, they all
Her
looked like the
mum's
angry
was
guy.
Yeah, they all
disgust.
looked like the angry guy.
Yeah, and her mum's was disgust. Was her lead emotion. So I was like,
Oh, that's weird. That's actually
no,
quite
it
a
wasn't.
cynical...
Sadness was her mum's.
That's
lead
quite a
emotion.
cynical view of the human race, isn't it? If her dad's main emotion is anger and her mum feels sad all the time.
And again, it's just presenting a simplistic view for kids.
Yeah, these films probably don't hold up to this kind of
Scrutiny.
analysis, do they?
You should watch
My-
you should watch the Cinema Sins video of Inside Out because they point out a lot of
Oh yeah.
problems with it.
My lead emotion would probably be like nervousness.
I was going to say confusion.
That wasn't one of
Confusion.
the 5. You have to choose one of the 5.
Oh, okay.
What are
it'd
the
be
5?
probably disgust.
Yeah, I can see.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
I've seen you get
I'm
ridiculously angry at things that really you don't.
I'm
Wait, so there's
get.
constantly
disgust, sadness,
disgusted.
anger, joy, and
Fear.
Pleasure. Oh,
So yours would be what? Disgust.
Disgusting.
probably fear.
Yeah, mine would be fear as well. The world is scary, man. There's snakes
Yeah.
and spiders.
And bears. Why?
Bears are cool though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have time for owls.
But then again, we're saying it so with animation films. Like,
I have literally nothing but time for owls. I had to say that.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
that's why you're
different.
not
I
scared all the
know
time.
a cracking owl sanctuary. But anyway,
Yeah. I'd walk in there and be like, "Listen, guys, how much do you need? How much time do you need? I got all the time in the world for you, no doubt."
Anyway, but in terms of animated films this year, actually, I mean, the thing with Pixar, we might not slag them off, but we might review them and go, oh, yeah, but when you compare it to something like the Minions, good lord, it's so much better.
I haven't seen Minions.
Listen,
I have
look,
no interest in that.
Lisanne, I agree with you, but listen, what we're doing now is wrong, okay? Because Minions are stupid and they represent advertising and all the bad things in the world. But if we talk about how much we hate them, we're buying into that gimmick. We're choosing a side in this totally arbitrary, pointless battle that surrounds this IP that is absolutely worthless and nobody should really care about.
They're going to die out.
I suggest, well, they will, but
I don't know. Frozen's been going
them
for 3 years now.
Yeah, it should.
Yeah, Frozen isn't.
Well, no, I love Frozen. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying it won't necessarily run out of steam.
Big Hero 6 came out this year as well.
I did like Big Hero 6.
That was the best
that was
animated
really good.
film of the year, I reckon.
I would agree with you.
I love the concept of San Fran Tokyo.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I pronounced it. I really liked the mix of cultures. That was really, really effective. Yeah.
Any other animated films this year that I can think of? I've
got a list. None of mine are animated.
Let's just jump straight to the fact of. I know we should have been talking about video games, but what best film of the year?
I'll go first. Ex Machina. That was really good.
I didn't see
Robot
that.
Girl behind glass.
Yeah.
I was thinking about talking about it because there's been this.
I've heard it's brilliant, but I just haven't got around to watching it.
Well, there's been this kind of new breed of science fiction films that I think started with Moon, continue with Her,
Moon and Her were my favourite films of
Moon.
those years.
and then Ex Machina, and it's like this ludicrously down to earth science fiction where
Yeah, it's like low key sci-fi.
they're just saying what if about normal life, and then they're putting something else in there, and it's
They're also character studies that are kind of taking place in sci-fi. They're not totally about the sci-fi element.
yeah, I like it so much because it's obviously more mature science fiction than Star Trek or whatever, and because I think science fiction and fantasy are really hard to do in film form because people don't easily believe in that sort of world because everything's ridiculous and they've all got strange costumes.
Yeah. It's kind of weird to think that technology has actually progressed to a point where sci-fi is now more believable. You know, we can conceive of these machines sort of thinking in a humanistic way. Whereas 10 years ago that would have, 20 years ago that literally would have been like magic sci-fi, ha ha ha. Now, self-driving cars are on the horizon.
Oh, I see.
Smartphones, we literally have the entire sum of human knowledge in the palm of our hand. They're like the communicator devices from Star Trek or whatever, but 10 times cooler. And we have them, nobody talks about how cool that is. Nobody talks about how weird that is that we suddenly have this and it's like totally changed lives. But
I've been rewatching Friends recently, and obviously that ended in 2004.
yeah,
Essentially pre-Facebook. Pre-smartphones,
pre-YouTube.
They hardly ever use cell phones.
It's weird to think, isn't it? Because we see that,
and it's really
so recent,
weird.
but
Yeah, and it's really, really weird to see this world where it doesn't really happen. Like I've just watched the episode of Monica and Chandler's wedding where Chandler loses the disposable cameras that they put on the tables, and so it meant that Monica had no pictures to look at. Whereas in, like, at mine and Neil's wedding, for example, we were encouraging people to use a hashtag and uploading it to social media, so it was all there instantly straight away. And I was just like, this whole episode, the whole plot line could not have happened. It's crazy. And it's so tangibly close.
Is stuff like that, like Twitter, like YouTube, Facebook, is that all Web 2.0? Is that what we're calling that? Is that what
Web 2.0, I think as a phrase, has not been relevant for many years.
Yeah.
But is that, when people talk about that, is that what they were...
Web 2.0 was more of a... kind of style direction.
Stylistic, yeah. Okay, no, I get what you're saying.
It was also it was the sharing culture as well. So
is there a term for social media and stuff like that, but not social media?
Well, we say we're in the information age right now.
Yeah, I think
that's the age we live in.
I think they stopped coming up with terms to describe internet age.
Because I was just thinking that the paradigm shift that stuff caused was almost like the advent of the internet itself. It's like there were two stages.
Yeah.
Which is weird to think. But the sci-fi, I think, is a response to that actually becoming more realistic. So the reason it's becoming more grounded is A, because people want more sophisticated films, but B, because our technology has now become more in line.
And the other thing with the whole Facebook and YouTube and all that sort of stuff is also the portability of the internet became a massive factor on what could actually be done.
Absolutely.
Because as I'm saying, we're uploading stuff to a hashtag, but, that required technology to move advanced enough so we can get it on our phones to do that.
I think the major shift you're talking about was from content consumers to content creators. Because the internet got fast enough and rich enough that we could all start showing pictures rather than waiting for, like National Geographic to upload pictures to their website.
Yeah.
Point.
This year, I discovered YouTube. Before this year, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still watch YouTube Rewind, and I'm like, who the hell are all these people?
You're using Daily Motion.
Wait,
But
have
no,
you been
no.
getting into YouTubers?
So no, we're not really YouTubers, but I always just kind of, because I go on YouTube, it'd be like top videos in your area, and it's some guy playing Minecraft, going like, oh, I'm riding a pig and stuff like that, and it was just, I don't like YouTubers, I don't like the loud, obnoxious, hi everyone. I mean, if
Dude,
that's
PewDiePie is going to hear you. He's like the next.
I know, he literally
Yeah.
went down. But I mean, if that's what floats your boat, fine. But then I actually started digging and finding actual YouTube channels that are genuinely really, really good. There's this one called Every Frame a Painting, which is he's an editor, film editor, and he'll talk about his favourite films. And it's really, really good. And there was this guy called Chef John that does his cooking thing for all recipes as well. And it's really good. They're really good channels.
Jack is literally describing my YouTube subscription list now, right now.
Really?
And he's only just like I've been watching these people for years, Jack.
You need to share something. There's one guy called The Great War, where every week by week he is describing what happened back in 1914 when the World War One was going on. So he's saying this week back in World War One. He started in
that's pretty
2014.
You know that started as a Twitter channel, right?
I don't know.
I don't know about that
But he's
particular
very
channel.
great the way he talks about it. And it's funny because I was talking to a friend of the show, Mark, the other day, and there's a lot of stuff on this for like films and book reviews and stuff like that. And I mean, films a bit worse, where it's like everything wrong in 9 minutes and all that sort of crap. But games is still a bit lacking on their YouTube channel.
No, they're not.
Content,
Seriously,
I
the
think.
best YouTube channel I've ever found is Mark Brown's game design toolkit, whatever.
He's
It's-
good, but his voice is a little bit annoying.
Maybe a little bit, but he's actually super eloquent. He kind of
He is good,
irritates
yeah.
me because a lot of the stuff he says is stuff that I have thought in less eloquent terms and always wanted to articulate and always wanted to get credit for because I thought of them. But he takes them all and puts them in one place, and then
I always
Is
find
he stealing your thoughts?
he might be actually.
That could be what's happening.
I always find
you
that
might be safer in Scotland.
I'm going to see if
There is a wall.
I'll just put the tinfoil hat back on.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if you agree about this, because I always find I was saying to Mark, and he was like, no, I don't really agree too much. I think for some reason gamers ones, like that gamers design toolkit and other things like that, for some reason they're much more critical of games, whereas
Yeah.
filmmakers much more talk about how much they love films.
But do they? I think maybe the most popular filmmakers do, but actually there's a huge industry around this academic film criticism where they're circle jerking over Stanley Kubrick all the time, even though all of his films are unanimously boring.
Full Metal Jacket is not boring.
Okay, maybe not Full Metal Jacket. The
Shining wasn't boring. Clockwork Orange wasn't boring.
2001.
2001 Space Odyssey was. Jesus Christ.
now,
But listen,
son, come on.
around
Lads.
film, there's a super elite, super academic criticism that goes on where essentially nothing is good and everything is subject to this just derision. So I don't.
Yeah, but that's the same with in-depth analysis of absolutely everything.
Yeah, but I think with films it's particularly noticeable because it's.
But
kind
that's
of,
because you can watch it over and over. You can't do that with theatre because you can't go over and over and over and reanalyse it.
Yeah, that's a good
So that's
point.
why film, I think, can go to that depth.
I think that what Jack's talking about is more apparent because with stuff like film or theatre or literature or paintings or sculpture or whatever, the avenues that people criticise them through are not YouTube. They're magazines, journals, newspapers, you know. Whereas gamers, where do they go to talk? They go to Reddit, they go to Twitter, they go to YouTube. So I think that the most prominent critics will be on
I
those
think
platforms.
a fact of it as well is that in terms of academia, in terms of there has been a longer lifeline of academia in terms of things like film analysis and media
Well,
analysis.
yeah, it's film
Whereas
studies.
Gaming studies does exist, but it's still relatively in its infancy.
It
And it's
is.
finding
Oh
its
my
legs.
god, you can do a degree where you study video games.
What do you think my degree's in?
That's different.
Don't
though.
you
Yours
have a
isn't like
degree?
design.
I have a degree in computer games technology, first class honours. Drop that in there.
Nice.
Didn't do much for you though. I did a podcast out of it.
It really bothers me that there's not as much content about serious study of video games and especially video game industry.
Yes, yeah, that really bothers
yeah.
me.
Like
A
the
lot.
existence of Mark Brown, when I found that, I was really happy. But obviously, it's one video a month or whatever, and that's not enough for me. Whereas you can get a lot of really fascinating study into film and art and all that stuff, and some of it is on YouTube.
It's
I will
becoming
say.
a lot more commonplace, actually.
But-
in the last few months, there have been so many game design analysis videos. put
Yeah,
on
there
YouTube.
has. They're really cropping
I
up.
think the problem is that the not only is the industry immature, but its participants are immature. So people who play video games and enjoy them aren't really qualified to be talking about them in a way that I'll find interesting.
I disagree with both of your assertions there. I think it's interesting to think of the industry as immature when actually a lot of the things it's doing are more advanced than film or any other media. I mean, okay, in the strictest definition, it is literally not mature. You know, it's young, and I agree with you. But I don't think the content creators, and I don't think that the consumers are immature because they actually have super high expectations. Like they're really discerning in a lot.
High
of ways.
expectations is, I don't think it's a sign of maturity. I think young people can complain when Fallout 4 doesn't match their expectations just as much as a 50-year-old
Yeah, but they can tell you why it doesn't. Whereas a guy who goes to see a Transformers film and thinks it's not great, chances are he's just going to say it wasn't great. Like, he's not going to be able to articulate that. But people, especially people interested in games, they articulate what is wrong with them so well. You know, they get furious. There's this vitriol about it. You know, they'll say,
I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, but that's true with all forms of entertainment.
No, it's not though. There's something tribal and there's something cultish about this. Yeah, but in music, again, unless you're a trained musician, you're not going to get the guy saying, you know, I thought the cadence in the second bar was actually bullshit. You know, it should have been plagal, but it was perfect.
But that's true with everything. Like, when I take the kids to see plays, when I take them in year 9, they just know whether or not it's a good play. But by the time we get to year 11, because we spent so much time critiquing and analysing plays in production, so but it's the same with all forms. Yeah, they then go see it and they just analyse it.
Yeah, but they're studying this on an academic level, so they're the outliers there. Whereas I'm saying that the gamers who criticise these games, they're not studying them on an academic level in some kind of academic institution. They're just on their own time. They're going and doing it because I think that the dialogue surrounding games criticism is more advanced.
You have to be careful as well, though, because maybe I'm going off on a tangent a bit. But there's also the reverse factor of that, of where it becomes almost snobbery to review it. Like, there's a joke in The Simpsons I really like where Lisa goes to see a violin player at college, and like the woman's playing a really weird song, and the guy next to her goes, "Ksh, this is terrible," and she goes, "You need to listen to the notes she's not playing." Goes, I could have done that at home. There is this element at which I do think that I agree with what you're saying, but there are some times where I think that generally, like Lausanne's year 9s will say, "Oh, you know, this play is rubbish," and I go, "No," but eventually I'll just go, "I agree with you, it's rubbish." It's like modern art. I mean, I like it and appreciate what it does, but at the end of the day, when someone goes, "It's rubbish, I don't understand it, it's crap," I kind of go, well, they are right as well. It is modern art. Yeah. And gaming has a lot of that. You get games like Rez, which is good, but people go mental because it's some guy made it in some small barn in
That's
England
a good point. It kind of bothers me because when someone just resorts to saying something's crap or something's good, all they're really doing is sharing their opinion and none of the reasoning or analysis behind it. And maybe they can't provide that reasoning or analysis. Maybe they just know, gut feeling.
But you do just know.
But beyond that point, it's just their opinion. And I don't know if you've heard this before, but opinions are like everyone's got one and they usually stink.
I always heard opinions are like belly buttons. Everyone's got one, they don't hold a lot of water.
Right, yeah, that's another way of putting it. And
opinions are like coconuts.
Yeah. That's another
Everyone's
way of putting
got one
it.
and you can shave them.
You put the lime and the soda in it, mix it all up.
No.
Yeah.
I know, but my point is that most of what I see when people talk about games are just opinions, and they're not going into a reasonable and mature and, more importantly, open-minded discussion about it. They're just spewing hate, and it is not helping anyone.
I can see
and
that.
I don't see... I mean, there might be people who do this, but I don't see a lot of people discussing films in a way that they get really... I don't know what a good word is... violent about it.
Yeah, but I think that has got a lot to do with the circles that you mix in. Seriously, I think you'd be surprised if you go on a particular film discussion board. Like, I used to, because I really love the band Muse. I'm actually wearing a Muse t-shirt right now, which is a bit weird. And the website dedicated to Muse, the forum on there, if you go on there, all of it's so toxic, you know. There's this vile spewing, you know, this hatred that comes out about absolutely everything to do with the band. And I think that any really dedicated fan base is going to eventually get a bit weird.
So 2015 going into it in terms of this era is quite interesting because we went into it with the whole Gamergate scandal and the journalism thing going on.
That's not worth talking about.
What do you think? No, but I think my question is going to be over the course of 2015 in terms of critical reviewing of games and stuff like that. I don't think journalism in games has actually got much better
journalism
over
in
the
games
year.
Sucks, but it was never about that, was it? It was this weird thing.
But I was going to bring it round to that in terms of like the critical reception of gaming is still something I don't really buy into much anymore.
Well,
I
you
just
mean
get a general
actual
gist
reviews of
it
games?
Yeah, I guess so. And also like user-made content in terms of reviewing games and things like that. I don't think it's changed much in 2015.
Well,
I don't think there's been a leap and bounds of like improvements.
It hasn't changed at all, and it's kind of it mirrors a lot of what's happening in the news because I've been talking to a few friends about this. The concept of newspapers is weird, isn't it? Because you're meant to be getting unbiased news from them, but if their entire existence relies on selling newspapers, then they're going to do what they have to do to sell them. Similarly, sites like IGN and GameSpot, they're going to do what they have to do to get web ad revenue. You know, they're going to put the clickbaity titles. They're going to give this game a particular review. You know, they're going to fire Jeff Gerstmann if he gives Kane and Lynch. Was it Kane and Lynch 2 a 7 out of 10?
Yeah.
And that's never going to change.
Someone lost their job because of a rating they gave a video game.
That's video games. Yeah.
There was probably more stuff around it that wasn't
I pay no
just
attention to video game journalism whatsoever.
I think it was because they were showing advertising at the same time.
Right.
Review site go down this year? Didn't GameSpot or someone like that get closed this year?
I didn't hear about it.
I feel like there was a big
That wasn't
gaming
this year.
site.
Do you have a dream,
went
Jack?
down. No, I don't know. I feel like there was. I should have researched better, but it feels like there was a big gaming review not respected, but site was basically gone. I can't remember what it was now, but I'm probably completely wrong. It doesn't matter. Carry on.
Kotaku may as well have died. I think actually the biggest change in games journalism this year has been an even greater shift away. Because I mean, the numbers are 7 to 10. 7 is don't buy it, 8 is maybe buy it, 9 is probably buy it, 10 is, it's a 8 out of 10 really. But there's been this huge shift towards gaming personalities in the media and in the journalism side of things. So like Giant Bomb, for example, their reviews, nobody really cares about them. It's all about the quick looks, the Let's Play style stuff. And I think that being a media personality, being a character, has definitely become more consumable.
I find it quite sad that so I was looking at recently. All I wanted to find was a YouTube channel that just showed me trailers of games. That's all I wanted to see.
Game trailers.
And it was but game trailers. It was surprising. You say that it was surprisingly quite hard because even game trailers have succumbed to this whole top 10 bosses in water levels.
They've always
thing.
done that though. They've been like
and
that.
then weekly update with Mark Leleur talking about video games. And
Mark
stuff.
Leleur was on Game Trailers.
I don't know. But you know what I mean. But people love this stuff, and it was really hard just to find a channel. And I managed to find one thing called just like Gamer Network Trailers, and all they do is upload the latest outputted trailers of game shows. But it's just a shame that it is kind of a lot of people are having to succumb to this very kind of BuzzFeed-esque stuff on YouTube and game critical praising of things, of top 10 lists being very addictive to the human persona or psychology or whatever, that we love numbers. But yeah, just, I don't know, I would say the game journalism hasn't moved along much.
I've always been surprised, Jack, that you are quite interested in trailers in general. Because you'll often watch, like, every year you usually host a E3 trailer watching
Love that.
party.
Yeah.
And I'm
Wait,
curious.
what?
Yeah.
It's actually
Have you guys ever been invited?
It's actually called a Don't Invite Lisanne party.
Oh man!
So yeah,
It's not really, it's just normally I say to people, anyone can watch E3 trailers with me. And I sit and watch about 4 hours of E3 trailers.
And can you tell me what it is about trailers for video games that you like to watch?
And it's why I like Star Wars as well. Because and when you said earlier, and I was going to jump on it, you said I don't think gamers understand the business behind gamers. I thought I thought you were going to talk about like the people don't recognise the developers. Like when a developer leaves a studio, they might go, "I'm really looking forward to the next whatever studio game." But it goes, "Well, if the team is a different team, it's going to be a very different studio." But anyway, and then also the business side of it. Okay, people get really annoyed with like the current stuff going on with. It used to be on this DLC, and now it's like I don't know, episodic content or whatever is pissing off gamers today. Where they go, "Oh, this is a rip off." It's like, well, that's the business of it. There is business logic behind all of these things they do. Maybe it's not right, maybe it's not wrong. No, but it was why Kotaku put out an article recently saying how Bethesda wouldn't send them early copies of Fallout 4 or something like that. They were being blacklisted by Bethesda, and they said it's because they put out a news article 6 months earlier about a girl who had left the company and started sharing details about the fact that it's based in Boston. You do this, you do that, you do that, and Bethesda were really angry about that, and they had to take it down. And they had a go at Kotaku for it. And Kotaku went, "Well, we're a journalism site. That's what we do." And they responded by saying, "No, you didn't. You're spoiling a game. You're spoiling it for gamers." And the reason they do that, and I completely agree with, is they have a marketing campaign. They build up anticipation for the game. Fallout 4 was fantastic because they announced it 6 months ago at E3 with a great trailer, and it wasn't actually that long to wait. That was
the best marketing campaign I've seen in a long time.
In the world of like marketing, that's called like the saturation point of where the actual deliverable of the game is going to be on time, and then the saturation point of people's excitement is getting started. You announce a game too early, then people get bored of it. You announce it too shortly, like Dreamcast or Sega Saturn or whatever it was, and people don't have time to respond to it. And it's a great campaign, and they'll spend millions in it. And the people who are fantastic at this are Disney, because Disney bought Marvel. Everyone went, "Marvel, that's a kind of an interesting purchase, but okay."
And they've bought Star Wars now.
And then they bought Lucasfilm, and that's why I'm interested in Star Wars, because I know this is going to spur the biggest franchise going even further. And people go like, "Well, Star Wars was a big franchise." It was getting dragged through the dirt. You know, people were relying on Star
last 3
Wars,
films.
New trilogy.
like,
Oh yeah.
but even outside
blacked it
that,
out.
even outside that Star Wars content, the games were flagging a bit, and every so often there'd be like a Knights of the Old Republic, and for every Knights of the Old Republic, there's about 5 other Jedi whatever crap things, and I love seeing a campaign like move along, and that's why I like seeing trailers, because that's, you know, a trailer can make me buy a game. Dead Island, for example, the trailer was so good, I went, "I'm going to buy this game."
Yeah, but you're arguing against yourself because the Dead Island trailer was amazing, but the game was like terrible.
I know, but I still like. I like.
What
seeing,
you're really talking about is the hype train.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why you... Like, you must understand that the hype train is not always real, if you see what I mean. It's not always reliable. But you still seem to be willingly throwing yourself into that hype train every time, being like, "I want to be part of this."
because that's part of the experience.
But
Like,
it's almost as if you don't care how the
you're
game
on
turns
example
out.
you just gave is literally a perfect case in point for it being a bad thing.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, the product is still, the end product at the end of the day is what you're buying. You know, if someone tells you for weeks this cake tastes incredible, when you actually buy it, it sucks, you're going to be disappointed. But I like to buy into that. I get involved in that. So where you're saying you're on a media blackout from Star Wars, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to go on websites and read all the insiders and looking for behind the access. Anything that hasn't come directly from the studio, I don't pay attention to. But the trailers, they build up my excitement for it. They showed one a year ago, it's a teaser, and they showed the next one, it's a preview. And like, that's why when people post all these like TV spot stuff, I don't watch it. I just watch the official trailer and go, now I'm pumped. And don't get me wrong, you know, it is an art form in itself to do trailers, because sometimes a trailer can ruin a whole damn film. But I'll see something and go, that looks awesome, I'm definitely going to go see that. Mad Max is a good example of a trailer that made me go, holy crap, I'm going to see this film.
But would you
and
not-
it made it better to see it.
Would you have not seen Mad Max anyway?
I probably wouldn't. No, I would definitely not, because I saw the trailer for Mad Max when I went to go see a film before it. I think it might have been the Age of Avengers: Age of Ultron. They showed the trailer for Mad Max, and I went, "Holy crap! I didn't even know about this film." And now I'm definitely going to go see it.
Can I ask you guys? I mean, I hate feeling like I'm being marketed at. I know it's kind of silly at this point, you know, to feel it's kind of like an edgy teenage thing. Oh, the man with the marketing and stuff. It makes me feel really just seedy and weird when I know I'm being manipulated by ad people. I mean, Coca-Cola are really good at it and it impresses me, but
They're
I
fantastic.
still hate it. But for something like a new film or a new TV show or a new book or game, what do you base whether you consume that and how quickly you consume that on? Because for me, it's not critical reviews. I'm not reading a review that says like 10 out of 10. I'm like, wow. For me, it's how widely it saturates Reddit. Because if on the gaming,
That's very true, though. That
if
is
on the
very
gaming
true.
subreddit there are comments in like a totally unrelated thing that are saying like how awesome this game is, and like they're making references to stuff in the game, then you know that it's had a cultural impact. You know the game is done
Yeah, I
something
agree.
good, and you can kind of then be like, do you guys, is that sort of
That
Yes.
really well, it doesn't really annoy me because things don't really annoy me, but it bothers me mildly that whenever I go onto the R Gaming Reddit,
don't go on our gaming, man. It's,
You want our video games?
you want
love
our
our-
games.
I love our gaming.
when I go on R Gaming for maybe 2 months after release of a big title, it's nothing
Yeah.
but memes and pictures from that one game, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to see other stuff. Because right now this has become the Fallout 4 subreddit, or right now this has become the Just Cause 3 Reddit.
But that subreddit is like a hyper-concentrated version, I think, of the phenomenon. Like, it sucks. It's literally just pictures and memes and stuff, which is like, why would you go there?
I know, it's just strange that it takes over this entire general gaming subreddit, and it's like they're all... It's basically a demonstration of the hype train, because they're all
Yeah.
talking about it before it comes out, and then they're posting non-stop memes and other content after it comes out. And
A good example of how good the game is how long it lasts after that initial release, you know, because there's the amount of the hype train and there are all these memes and stuff before it comes out, and then when it comes out, if a few months later everyone's still talking about it, then you can kind of assume that it's pretty good.
yeah, I mean, to your question, I go by... Either I'll play it because I know that I enjoyed something previously, like I was very excited about Mass Effect 3, and I'm very excited about Ni no Kuni 2.
Yeah.
Because I've played the previous games, I played the previous games in both those series, and so I was and am really excited to play the next ones. Or it's because of critical consensus after release.
Okay.
So if I know it's one of the cream of the crop games, like this is the sort of thing you have to play in your lifetime.
But so
then
you're putting weight in the actual reviewers, the Metacritic sort of 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Usually I don't look at Metacritic, but it's usually games that everyone's talking about. So it'll be sort of critical consensus, but not necessarily from reviewers, because I do that for films, but not for games. But more, this is just a game that everyone has to play. But I wait
Okay.
because I usually buy games months after they release anyway, so it's a good point at which to say, okay, is this game definitely worth playing it? And everyone says yes, I play it.
Fair enough.
Back onto the topic of films before we go into games. Film of the
I've
year.
got 3 films I need to talk about.
Films of the year. Are these your top 3 films of the year, or what films of the
2
year? or-
amazing ones and 1 severe disappointment.
Do the severe
Ooh.
disappointment.
Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
Was that this year?
It's already,
Yes.
it's already
I thought
on Netflix.
Is that, yeah, I thought I watched that on Netflix. It sucks, doesn't it?
It
That
was
film?
awful.
I enjoyed
Hot
the
Tub
first
Time
one.
Machine.
Yeah.
Obviously B movie trash.
It's like a stupid film, but it was
exactly,
funny.
but it was funny. It was hilarious. It was an interesting concept, and it was really well done. And then Hot Tub Time Machine 2. It was
Yeah.
just. It was poor. It was
Time-
so poor.
It's weird as well, because the lead character was John.
John Cusack?
Yeah.
John Cusack in the
he's
first
not-
movie. He's not in
now
the
it's
second one.
Adam
They
something.
tried to
It's
replace him with Adam Scott.
The
Adam Scott.
lawyer from Community.
Yeah.
No,
no.
No, that's
so
Joel McHale.
Parks
No,
and-
I mean the
Parks
other
and-
lawyer.
Oh yeah,
It's
Alan.
Rand, yeah.
Yeah.
He had Scott things in Parks and Rec.
Yeah. So that was a major disappointment.
Well,
that was
I
the
suppose-
film that I saw this year that I was most disappointed in. Was Hot Tub Time Machine 2. It was really bad.
Mine would probably be.
And I hated Mad Max.
Your mistake was
I'm just
looking
saying
forward
it.
to a film called Hot Tub Time Machine.
I wasn't looking forward to it. It was browsing through Netflix. Oh, there's a sequel, Neo! And then we watched it, and we were both just like, well, this is a massive letdown.
Yeah.
Terminator Genesis was pretty disappointing for me.
Yeah, that was
I didn't
bad.
even have big things for it, and I can't believe how crap it was.
Was
Like-
Daenerys Targaryen any good in it?
No.
Oh.
It was so bad. And Age of
No
Ultron.
dragon tits.
Age of Ultron was also pretty weak. I
Yeah,
came out of the cinema
Terminator
and just
2.
went,
Yeah.
"Crap."
My main problem with Age of Ultron, and I really like the first Avengers film, okay, and I realized
yeah, I
that
loved it.
Joss Whedon,
Yeah.
Joss Whedon's
Is that
good, right?
2015?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the second one was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon's good, right? He's
Age of
legit.
Ultron
Buffy
was
was
something.
great. Firefly was great, although it's been circle jerked over. This film was filled to the brim with so many little quips and jokes. Not one conversation could go by without each character having 3 little jokes or puns or something. It was like
That's what I like to think of
terrible.
as the Seth Rogen script writing
Yeah.
right there.
It was just it reached saturation.
the dictator,
God.
the interview as well. That was appalling.
Yeah, that was a bad film.
The worst film
Someone
I've,
told James Franco he was funny.
the worst film.
Oh,
No, he's
Pineapple
pretty,
Express
but
was
he's not
good.
funny.
The worst
Yeah,
film
but
I've
he
seen
wasn't
for
improving lines.
the worst film I've seen for quips is The Expendables 3 with Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I've never
'Cause it's
seen
like
The Expendables
they're in the
movie.
middle of a gunfight, and there's a bit where Arnie goes, "I'll be back," and then Bruce Willis goes, "No, you stay here. You're always back. I'll go." And as he jumps over, Arnold goes, oh, "Yippee ki yay!" like that, and it's
Jesus
so bad.
That sounds
It's like,
amazing.
Jesus.
I'd have a stroke because it sounds great.
What were your 2 films you wanted to talk about?
The first one is The Martian.
Oh, I've not seen it yet.
Amazing.
I haven't seen it yet.
I
Spoilers.
listened.
I
It's
might
alright.
read the
I won't do
book
any spoilers.
Book first.
My commute to work is now an hour each way, so it's 2 hours in the
damn.
car. So I started listening to audiobooks because I don't read books. I play video games. So I downloaded The Martian and was listening to that, and it was absolutely amazing to listen to in the car.
I've
It
heard
was
it's a really
just
good book.
an amazing book.
Who's reading it?
And so, just some
The
bloke.
titular
no one
Martian.
famous.
This is,
no one
is
famous.
this audible.com you listen on?
No,
This is
it's
Audible.
not a legal method of obtaining.
But actually, you should
Oh.
use Audible because you get a free book like when you sign up for
Yeah, but you pay like £15 a month to use it, and you get one book a
You
month.
can cancel a free trial.
I thought.
Yeah, but then I got one book. I got
Great.
10 hours in the car. A book is 10 hours
That's
long.
a long commute.
The book is 10 hours long. That's 52 books a year.
Who's that guy who
Just done
heads
the
up
maths.
QI?
Stephen Fry.
He did the Harry Potter books.
Stephen Fry. I thought the world, like the literary industry of the world, had a exclusive agreement with Stephen Fry to voice every book from now until
No,
forever.
he does Harry Potter and his own
Yeah.
autobiographies,
So they
which I've also
they switched to
listened
Ian
to. which
McKellen,
were
have
good.
they?
Yeah.
But yeah, so The Martian, I listened to the audiobook, and then suddenly in the news they're talking about how there's going to be a Matt Damon movie about it, and I was like, oh, amazing. I do love Matt Damon. And so, yeah, we went to see it, Neil not having read the book, and me having read the book. And it was a
Having
really...
listened.
Having listened to
Well,
the
listen,
book.
it was a really fair adaptation. Obviously, in the book, they could go a lot into the actual science and physics about
Yeah.
how he solved all the problems of everything that went wrong.
Yeah.
But in the movie, obviously, they don't have time for that, and they have to keep it as a dynamic narrative. It did feel a bit rushed in places, and some of it was a bit tenuous that
Can
couldn't
I-
actually happen.
can I run a
but
few things by you?
I loved it. I thought it was an absolutely brilliant movie.
Can I ask you? I enjoyed the film. I thought
Mm-hmm.
it was very safe. Like it didn't surprise me at any point. I
Spoilers.
thought it was. Well, no, there was some. Look, is a line of dialogue going to make you freak out?
Well, I can stop listening.
Depends if it says, "Thank God I got home okay."
Can you mute
Or, oh
James's
crap, I
microphone
died.
so I can't hear it? Is that possible?
Listen. Okay, so basically my main. Actually, yeah. Okay, you do that.
Okay,
My
Answer's
main problem with
covering
the film
his
was that the way they tracked the passage of time
Mm.
felt unrealistic because actually no, I don't want to spoil this for Anthony.
What do you mean?
Well, because
With doing his vlogs?
there was a long time passed, right? But
In the book, there are big
But-
jumps like that as well.
But it didn't seem to have any noticeable psychological impact. Like he had the beard and stuff.
Oh, right, no.
But you would go insane.
in
you
the
would go
book,
crazy.
there is a lot more of that.
Okay.
And it does go a lot more into his psyche and how
Because in the film he was
copes.
all and stuff. But like, no, you would actually be
Yeah, no, in the book-
completely insane.
In the book, the planet becomes a villain, and he spends a lot of time
boy.
obsessing about
That
the
sounds
planet
cool.
and how
That's-
the
yeah.
planet is trying to get him. No, that's in the book. It's not in the movie.
That's cool.
And so obviously you get that depth of it.
So
there.
Anthony can take his fingers out of his ears, and listeners, if you've got your fingers in your ears, take them out. Anthony can come out. What was your second film?
Jurassic World,
Jurassic World is the second film,
amazing.
Anthony. Thank you for joining us.
absolutely amazing. That is my top film of the year. I loved it.
It was fun.
It was fan service, and I lapped it all up.
Did we see
Chris Pratt
Whiplash
just-
this
yeah.
year? No, Whiplash
that was last year.
Whiplash was last year.
Best
that was
film
amazing.
of all time. No,
Jurassic World was a very fun film. It
Yeah,
was good
it was
old
brilliant.
fashioned. Yeehaw, fun.
I feel like I'm going
That's
to
what
be.
you want, though.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I feel like I'm going to be a total wet blanket here, and I actually do sound a bit like a parody of myself when I say this, but I actually thought it was a bit sexist.
Oh no, it was, but it was tongue-in-cheek sexism. They knew they were being sexist.
I don't know, guys.
No, Bryce Dallas Howard, running in the shoes throughout the whole movie and purposefully doing her clothes in a sexy way.
It wasn't
that
just
was
that,
intentional.
though. It was
the product
also-
placement. That was all intentional.
I thought you meant because the bad guy was a girl. The dinosaur,
It's a
I think, was a
female.
female.
The Indominus
That's a good-
Rex.
Yeah, the good guy's a man back. It's a good point. No, I was just thinking
It was
it wasn't
sexist.
just that. It was also the fact that she was constantly reliant on him. You know, it was a basically save the damsel situation until the end, where whatever.
Spoilers.
But as well, she fit the stereotype of the prudish, ice queen who had a business.
Of course.
And then he comes and melts her heart, and suddenly she has time for other stuff because she doesn't have to have a career anymore. Because she doesn't have a family and whatever. I don't know. I felt
Some of us want to make that choice, James.
But they had a history.
Families are lame.
He didn't just swoop in. She didn't like him. They had a history.
Exactly, which is also a trope and is a bit sexist.
Of
the
course it
persistent
is.
guy,
The whole thing was
eventually
a
will
trope.
win over.
It's like Hot Tub Time Machine.
But some tropes are bad. It's not a big deal. I thought it was worth.
No, James,
Yeah.
no tropes are bad.
My film of the year was Mad Max, obviously.
It was awful.
My slight disappointment in a thing that I was quite excited for was Beasts of No Nation on Netflix.
I watched half of it and got bored.
Yeah,
I got to the
was
part with the
excited.
machete and I just didn't want to watch it. anymore.
Yeah, I was excited for it and it didn't deliver for me.
I love Idris Elba though. He's great.
However, it's not related to best films. I want to hear your guys in a second, but this year for me has been an absolute just rise of Netflix. Like it's been so great this year.
Did you watch
stuff.
See,
Jessica-
I've had
Jessica
Netflix for about
Jones?
4 years now.
I've had
and
it for about
I just,
two.
I just love it.
And
What,
It's amazing.
what films have been on Netflix? Because it sucks for films. I swear, there's not.
I'm watching
Well, that's
Jessica
why you get
Jones.
Prime as well.
Yeah, Jessica Jones is good.
Jessica Jones is fantastic.
David Tennant is fantastic.
I watched Wet Hot Summer, really like that, enjoyed that.
Okay.
There's other stuff on Netflix and I've really forgotten what they are, but yeah, it's been a good year. Anthony, favourite film this year?
I don't know. I did
No?
actually look through the top 100 films on Rotten
Are you-
Tomatoes.
Are you, not to spoil it, I know you don't know anything about the media blackouts around it, but are you think Star Wars is going to be a good film based on the fact that it's J.J. Abrams directing it and stuff?
I think it's going to be a good film based on the fact that
It's Disney at the helm.
Disney Marvel made Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And that film seemed like such a Star Wars prototype to me. That
Good point, yeah.
I mean, it's a different director, so it could be completely different, and it's probably a different tone as well, because I suspect they'll be a bit more serious with it. But I think they've proved that they can make a good space opera that's fun for the whole family, so that's what I'm looking for.
How do you guys feel about J.J. Abrams though? Because I loved Lost, but he wasn't that heavily involved. And then
I really
No,
like
he was
his,
involved with the first 2 seasons.
I didn't like the Star Trek films.
I really like his
Yeah, I fell asleep
lights
in
are
them.
way too bright.
The lens
Aesthetic,
flare.
yeah.
And Razoo.
I'm actually really into that.
Yeah.
You like
Yeah.
those lens flares.
I love the lens
You didn't
flares.
see it in 3D.
It literally burned out your
Yeah.
retina.
No, it did.
They
no,
poke your eyes.
Neil adores Star Trek. So being the good wife that I am, I go with him but he comes to see girl films with me, so it balances out. I went and saw Star Trek Into Darkness with him, and wait, was that which one's the one with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yeah.
Probably that one.
That one, yeah.
Second one.
And despite having Benedict Cumberbatch in it, I still fell asleep. But what was really annoying was the lens flares in 3D, because they would just come right out from the screen and go right in your face, and literally you're trying to move around them because they're right in your face. So that was really annoying. The lens flare thing, no.
Did J.J. Abrams also do Super 8? Am I right in thinking that?
I think
Yeah,
he did.
with
That was
Spielberg.
good.
I didn't like
No.
that as much.
No, I'm thinking
I
of a
didn't
different
like
movie.
I didn't like Super 8.
I like
Which
the.
one
I
was
like
Super
the.
8?
It was the one about the
little
kids making the film.
Filming a handheld.
It
for
was
an
that
alien.
one, yeah.
I
I
like-
quite like that.
So-
I feel
Alright.
like his films, they tend to have a lot of intrigue and mystery. He did this famous speech about what's in the the mystery box or whatever, and it's keep the audience intrigued. But then they always in the last third just devolve into like all these action scenes and like it's a big scary monster. Okay, well it's not interesting.
He's a safe bet of an actor. Like if you've got a franchise, and you're like, oh, we need to make a film out of something.
Actor.
Like director, sorry. Like he's safe. He's an anchor actor that you're going to get. Director, sorry.
I don't know that he's done enough. No, I don't think he's safe.
No.
He's made a lot of money though. Like he's.
Oh yeah.
I don't think all of his films are good enough that they could definitely give him Star Wars and be like, okay, it'll be fantastic. But I think the whatever films he's made that might be considered worse, like the Star Trek films, probably had less invasive production companies surrounding him. Whereas this one, like, people say that part of the reason that Lucas made the first 3 films and made them well is because there were people there to tell him no when he had really stupid ideas. But by the time he made the new trilogy, he had so much money, there was no one to tell him no. And so I think J.J. Abrams has been given this huge franchise, and there's no way that Disney's going to say, okay, you can run with this, J.J. We'll let you do whatever you want.
They split amicably with Edgar Wright over the Ant-Man when they didn't feel he was taking the film in a direction they agreed with, so they got him out.
Yeah,
and it was very amicable. He was like, I agreed. They understood what they wanted. It wasn't what I wanted, so we left. And
that's what I'm talking about.
Disney will weigh in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Disney have a vision. I don't think they'd ever let J.J. Abrams, make it too flashy or whatever he would do to make it not
I think
good.
Quentin Tarantino is a similar situation where when he had lack of money for things like Reservoir Dogs, he makes much more amazing films. But now that he's kind of a big, huge thing, and Django Unchained was an okay film, but it just got a bit silly.
Yeah,
the Hateful Eight, is it the Hateful Eight? Is new one that's coming out?
Yeah.
Again, apparently though, early critic reviews have been phenomenal for it.
They always are for
then
Tarantino, though, aren't they?
They were amazing for Django.
I agree with you completely. I also think he's a victim of his own ego, isn't he? Because he's such a narcissistic.
Oh yeah, he is now.
Slide this into television chat. As I said, also this year has been. I think everyone knows at the moment the TV is basically where the best quality entertainment.
It is.
In terms of like storytelling, I guess.
Yeah,
it's great. There was a thing this year, and if like our American listeners or Australian listeners over should try to get a hand of it. It was a drama on BBC called Dr. Foster.
Yeah,
you guys watched talking about Dr. Foster.
I watched it.
It was fantastic.
Up until the ending.
Oh well, let's not spoil it. But yeah, I thought it was fan. It was like
she needed to go.
Yeah.
She needed to, and she didn't.
And
it was just a ending, and it was it needed that full-on horror.
Yeah.
Did it?
Oh god!
It did.
I'm definitely going to bleep that out.
Okay.
I'll watch this
but it really needed it.
That was literally.
No, the thing is, the build-up to it, the discussion of it, like everything. It was extremely well done. It was fantastic, and I was loving it right up until the ending, where it just went all.
This will get bleeped out because that was literally the ending.
Listen, Jack.
Just really upset me.
Jack, at the start we said we're going to spoil stuff. It's way more interesting
because they didn't have balls.
I also watched a show this year that I've started loving called The Last Man on Earth. That Anthony, I know you didn't really get into.
I thought that was a film.
No, it's a TV show starring.
You're thinking of
what's it on?
The Man from Earth.
Oh, yes, it's only on like dodgy HBO. It's not on English.
Oh right, okay.
Walking Dead had a really good season this year, I think. Game of Thrones continues to be crap.
What? Shut your face.
This series of Game of Thrones was better than the last one, but all the Sand Viper stuff that they wrote themselves. Anytime they go away from the books, they're kind of showing how they're writing on it.
I'm not a gamer. I watch Game of Thrones. I hate when you get invested in a show and you're like, I've just got to keep watching this. I watched
that
the first
happens to me with
season.
Lost.
I watched the
Big
first
Bang
season
Theory.
of Mr. Roboto.
Huh?
Mr. Robot.
Yeah, Mr. Robot. That's the best TV show I've seen this year.
No, it's not.
Fantastic.
I mean, you're
Parks
wrong
and
there. You're wrong there,
Rec
James.
ended
Wrong there.
10 out of 10.
No, it's crap.
Christian Slater is great. It's not. What are you talking about? It's not crap. It's critically acclaimed.
It's all right. It's you can predict. You should watch it, Sam. Have you seen it yet?
What is it?
It's called Mr. Robot. It's about a hacker. You can
I've seen the trailers for it.
You can see
Phenomenal.
plot devices coming.
It's on Amazon Prime, isn't it?
Yeah, but Jack, listen. There's
absolutely.
You're meant to be able to because there's one point because one of the main dramatic conceits of Mr. Robot is that the guy has anxiety. Right. I'm not spoiling anything. Yeah, he has anxiety issues, and one of his coping mechanisms is talking to this voice in his head who is the viewer. So he talks to you as a narrator, and there's
like Miranda.
Kind of, yeah.
Like Clarissa explains it all.
And, it's actually a spiritual sequel.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And there's one point where a big plot twist happens, and then he says to the camera, the viewer, but of course you knew this all along, didn't you? You saw this coming because the way it is set up is they want the viewer to figure out the twist. And then he acknowledges it, and he was the only one who didn't know it. Everybody else knew. It's just him that has been kept in the dark. So when you say
it's not that clever. It's him looking at the camera going, "You already knew this," so you go, "No, I didn't." Oh, like
no,
that.
Seriously, I think that's the point of it. The point is to illustrate that he was the one who was having a delusion. He was the one who didn't know. Whereas
Not a big fan. Not a big fan.
No, it's intriguing. I've seen some trailers for it.
I'm
Neil
not-
and I have
I'm not
started The
getting
Man in the High
invested.
Castle as well.
Oh, I watched the pilot.
yeah.
We've watched the first
So about
3, I think. It's really it's good. It's an
That's
interesting concept,
that's
but
supposed to be a bit
it's
slow.
it's
Dick?
moving quite slowly.
Yeah.
Is that the book based on like Philip K. Dick, right?
It's
Yeah.
the TV based on the book.
It's the
yeah.
book by
I've
Philip
read
K.
the book,
Dick.
so I'll skip the TV
Yeah.
show. Thank you.
It's based on whether it's what alternate
Except for it's a
history?
film, not a propaganda leaflet.
Any other TV shows?
Parks
this
and
year?
Rec ended.
Yeah, it
Broke my
needed,
heart.
It
Oh.
needed to though, didn't it? It was getting on a bit.
I loved it so much.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine has filled its place for me.
No, it
Although
hasn't.
they're
Brooklyn
really,
Nine-Nine is awful.
Really sad that like the writer on Parks and Rec, was it the
Harris
writer
Whittles
passed away? Didn't he?
Oh, really?
He
committed
was
suicide just before
Yeah.
just before it wrapped.
Really,
Oh,
really
I've
sad.
heard. Oh no.
That's why the last episode is dedicated to Harris Whittles, the
Can
finale.
I just mention it hasn't ended yet, but Peep Show's back and it's phenomenal. It's really
I
good.
don't know. I'm mixed.
Haven't
Jez
watched
being
it.
gay. Don't
he's
get me wrong.
what?
I've got nothing
What?
against.
Jez is bisexual, and the
I know,
that has
but I'm
been
just
there
feeling
throughout.
like-
seriously,
Has it?
Yeah, him and Super Hands.
Well,
off like
but-
every weekend.
not every week. Only when they were high. And it was only that one
But
time.
still, and Jez.
And then
Jez
when
has
he was
had
a handyman.
Yeah, he's had sexual relationships with loads of guys. Like
I guess.
it makes sense. At first, I thought, oh, they're just
Yeah.
pandering to the new PC
That's what
crowd.
I
But
thought.
actually, it makes sense for the character. I think.
Yeah, I am enjoying it though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think Peep
I am
Show.
loving it.
Peep Show, out of all the TV shows I've seen, has maintained the highest level of quality because it's like 9 seasons in now.
Well, there's
It's
only
still
6
hilarious.
episodes a series.
True. True.
It's always the tall, thin ones I find.
What are you watching at the moment, Anthony?
What?
You watching anything TV wise?
TV wise,
Yeah.
I watched The American Office for the first time this year,
good.
and I actually really liked it.
I love
yeah, it's
it.
good. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just filling time
God,
whilst
you've got,
Anthony's
like,
thinking.
You've got eight seasons.
Have you?
of
How,
that to
how
catch
much
up
have you
on.
watched?
Of what?
American Office. Is
Oh no, I've watched it through about 3 times.
Oh, okay.
You've watched all of it.
Yeah.
It was great. I liked when Michael left. That was like, in terms of emotional impact. That episode.
Oh yeah, that
was,
episode of him leaving was amazing.
And then Pam goes and hugs him.
Nothing,
Yeah.
Anthony. Nothing.
I don't think I did watch much TV.
Would you like me to read
Did
out
you not
some
watch
of the
Big Brother
top-
this year? I know
watched-
how much you love Big Brother.
You watched X
I
Factor,
watched
though.
Community this year.
Oh yeah, season 6
I
Community.
haven't watched it.
Jesus, talk about shows that need to get killed.
Yeah, I actually.
Well, I
Jack,
think it is pretty much
It
dead
got resurrected.
now. It's not coming back.
Jack, I used to really disagree with you that Series 5 and Series 3, to a lesser extent, were kind of but having rewatched it, Series 1 and 2 are phenomenal, like so well written.
Yeah.
And then when it goes into the weird Abed's Dreamatorium stuff and Troy becomes this strange, effeminate nerd instead of the macho jock character
Yeah.
that he was. I realise it's meant to be character development, but still. It kind of became a bit lame. I don't know. Anthony, I know you disagree because you basically pulled it up as the holy grail of television, but
Yeah.
I
So-
thought it lost a lot.
Other
Well, no,
shows.
it is fantastic.
Other shows this year's done really well. Fargo, Transparent, Louis, Master of None. You like Aziz Ansari,
Oh, Master
didn't
of
you?
None is great.
No, I
tried watching
tried
Master
it.
of None.
Did not like it.
I
Why
love
didn't
it.
you like it?
I don't know.
It's
I
subtle.
love his stand up, and I loved him on Parks and Rec. So I was really excited for this.
It's not meant
and
to.
I watched it.
It's not meant to be
I
laugh
know.
out loud funny though.
I
Did
know,
you say-
but I
did you
found
say it
his
was subtle?
character.
Yeah.
No, it was too obvious. It was too
Yeah.
big. His character was too outlandish, and it was too ridiculous. The things that were going on.
Really?
I just couldn't go
You
with
say
it.
it's subtle, but the reason I had to stop watching it is because they had such a clear lesson in every single episode. I got this second episode at the start. They had such a clear lesson in every episode that they wanted to harp on about that I had to stop watching because
But that was the point. It was.
I don't want to watch a show where that's
Do
the
you
point.
not like getting preached to?
No.
So like Scrubs probably doesn't. You don't like Scrubs.
He has a thing right at the start where he's like, man, I could have had a baby. I wonder what having a baby is like. And then he meets 3 different people who all have
yeah.
varying opinions on what a
It
baby
It
is like.
did my head in.
It's a narrative conceit. Again, it's what a coincidence. All of these events are just happening after this title card says this is the episode.
No, but those kind of narrative conceits are only okay if someone turns to the camera at the end and says, but of course, you, the viewer, knew it all along. This was a narrative conceit, didn't
The
you?
thing
And I'm
is-
like, genius!
thing is-
Christ, I never saw it coming!
They do that on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where they set it up at the beginning of the episode, and
But
you have the
always-
title card is the gang does blah 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 blah, and then it all plays out nicely.
But that's a pure comedy. They're different. Master of None isn't a comedy.
I know.
Friends- Friends did it.
I was really
the one
disappointed.
where
I just didn't like
Fair
it.
enough.
all the Friends episodes.
I
called
wanted
the one with
to.
blank.
Yeah.
Scrubs was My Gay something.
Having watched
Yeah.
Aziz Ansari stand up, he is like the most charming little dude.
I really
Yeah,
like him.
he's awesome.
I've fallen in love with John Mulaney stand up.
Don't know who that is.
He's got
I
a
don't
new
think that's
special on
pronounced
Netflix. Mulaney.
Mulaney?
Jalone Mulaney, probably that one.
It's probably Mulaney, yeah.
Fantastic. The only other topic, because we're getting on in time on the show now, and the only other thing, is it even worth talking about music in 2015? Because to be honest,
on my face when I'm with you.
it's scary because it's funny, like... so
Massive tune, love it.
Let's talk about games, because to be honest, it's funny when I was looking up the games industry, and when people talk about games about, like, oh, you know, like journalism and scandal and, like, gamers get screwed over and stuff like that, just look at the music industry and go, good God, at least it's not like that.
Music industry's about to collapse, though, right?
Spotify's fantastic.
The music industry has been about to collapse for the last 5 years.
Oh,
But now it's really
so
about
bad.
to collapse, right?
Oh, is it?
Well, what was that thing that
Probably
was
not.
it? Who was it? Jay-Z launched this year.
Yeah,
it was like
Tidal.
a new listening platform, and they
Tidal.
awkwardly got people like Daft
Tidal.
Punk and Madonna. Thank you, Tidal. Sitting on the stage, standing in line, going, "We all sign this declaration to
Oh,
Tidal."
God, yeah.
And it was just, it was like
No, but the
it didn't even
quality's
make.
higher.
Power and unity. Work
No one
will bring
cares.
you
It's like-
closer to God.
You can totally hear the
No,
difference.
work will
really-
set you free.
It
Work will
sounds
set you free.
funny.
I'm sorry, I forgot my Auschwitz.
It sounds. It sounds awful, but you read all these articles, and I know it sounds big, but they're trying to find an angle of like,
Did you lose
but
concentration?
Jesus.
I love- whenever we get
Holocaust
together,
bands.
it's such a gas.
Good Lord, they. Right. Don't know if I have to blackle that out.
No, it's fine. It's not the first episode we
No,
discussed
it's not the
abortion
first
for
one.
ages. What?
It's
Funny.
so music.
Do we have to talk about music? Nothing happened.
I was just gonna say
James
how
is making
I
a
love
point,
how
yeah.
like
Definitely making a
Spotify
point.
is talking about like, oh, it's damaging the music industry, and new artists aren't breaking through and stuff like that. And it's like, and all of us, the regular customers, are like, yeah, but it's pretty damn good, Spotify, isn't it? I mean, it was pretty fucking well.
Yeah, I don't
so-
give a if the massive
Yeah.
multi-billion-dollar record companies go broke. Like that's not going to impact the music that's released.
It makes me feel like, oh, and then it's. I was funny actually. I was going to tweet the other day, made me laugh. Where like, lots of music streaming services now are putting on one of their features as having Taylor Swift. Like, so they'll have like continuous downloads, offline mode, Taylor Swift songs.
Like the final
It's
bullet
like,
point is
that's
Taylor
the-
Swift compatible.
Yeah, it is. It's like we've got Taylor Swift movie, and it's quite funny how she's
I
done
do
it
love
this
Tay
year.
Tay
Well, it's clever how she's done that because she's become the first kind of not anti, but you can't get her music on Spotify, so yeah, you have to go buy it. But if someone else does it now, it's like, oh, okay, what's
Or
Taylor Swift
YouTube
doing
it. I mean, like a reasonable person.
though. Oh, I just remember another TV program I discovered this year that I love.
Go on, we're done with music.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, okay, it's quite
Absolutely
many, like
amazing.
9 or 10 seasons in right now.
It's done 7 series. Season 8 starting next year.
Growth.
They're all on Netflix. It is amazing.
I love when a show grows in popularity over the seasons because you
It's
know it
just
means it's a sign of
incredible.
good.
Yeah.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia has grown in popularity over the years, and it's now become very.
Yeah,
very
no,
popular.
RuPaul's Drag Race is really growing.
That's about drag queens and stuff, right?
Yeah, so they get 12 drag queens start off in the program, and
They
then
buy each of them a hot rod.
They're then set a variety of challenges each episode. There's always a modelling challenge, a making challenge, and then there's the final catwalk challenge
Yeah.
each episode. And then the two that are the worst, they then have to do a lip sync battle. And it's great because RuPaul goes, and now, my darlings, it is time to lip sync for your lives. It's amazing. And then they lip sync the song, and then the worst one then gets kicked off, and it's down to
dragged.
the final, and it's just amazing. Like, seriously, these
get
men
dragged out.
and what they can transform themselves into. Like, you see them as men, and then you see them transform themselves into these women, and it is amazing
It's also
what they can do.
It's also a
It
very
is
good
incredible.
It's also a very good show, and I don't know if this would offend the transvestite community, but it's also very respectful of transvestites in it. It's not making fun of them at all.
Oh, no,
not
it's
making them silly.
celebrating.
It's also very good because when I first started watching it, they are like they'll show their, I guess, everyday person talking about who they are, and then they show the character.
Oh, yeah, they show them as men, and then
I
they
didn't,
show them as their
you know, it's
persona,
quite.
yeah.
It does give you quite good insight into how that kind of lifestyle works and stuff like that. And I was just really interested.
It
by
is incredible.
It's quite reassuring, actually, on a cultural level, that a program like that has been made and is now popular.
Yeah.
Because even 10 years ago, that would have been quite taboo, I think.
Can you imagine how
Well,
weird
it's,
it would
it's
be?
8 years old now.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah,
then even
it's been
20
going for 8
ago.
years.
Let's say 30
What-
years.
what- you
Yeah,
gonna say,
but
Anthony?
it
60
is
years ago,
amazing.
no chance.
It's such a
chance,
good
no
program.
Oh, cool.
And
I've heard a lot of people say
bitchy
it's
gay
really
men, I have so much time for. They're just incredible. Like, the fights they have on that program, and the beef, and there's just sausages everywhere. It's amazing.
Jesus.
Beef sausage.
They go into lots of detail about how to tuck.
Oh.
Apparently it's very uncomfortable.
I want to hear your thought that you end. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine how weird it would be if there was a show that was really popular and it was a bunch of women pretending to be men? like in a contest. Like, I don't think people would be like, what's this? Why are we watching
I
this?
could watch that.
I'd watch it.
How would it even...
I thought you were going to mention the continuing success of Rick and Morty, because they have a whole TV show, they have a whole
I've
episode where
tried
they watch...
3 times to get into that.
They
I just
watch-
Wait,
can't
you don't
do
like
it.
Rick and Morty?
No.
Because if Community
And I've
is
tried.
like...
No, this is
If
it.
Community's here, then Rick and Morty's here. And listeners, you can't see it, but I'm putting Rick and Morty about 5 times higher than Community, because it's much better.
I know.
Show me a
It's what I
scale.
heard. It's what I heard, and I've tried 3 times to get into it, and I just can't.
I've introduced
I
it
just
to
don't
two
like
of my colleagues, and both of them have really got into it. So
Well,
I
good for them.
I think
You're not
basically
I have
as
everyone,
as colleagues.
I know.
everyone likes it. Literally everyone likes it.
Worst show I've seen this year, just because I thought it was hilarious, is a show on Channel 4 here in the UK called The Hunted,
That was great.
which was basically, they would get people and they would go, we're going to send a special track force of people to come and find you, blah, 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 and you get like a 30-minute warning, you got to run, and it's crap. Because
What are you on about? They didn't have a
there was
30-minute warning.
There's
What are
one
you
where
on
there's
about?
these 2 women walking down the high street, and they're like, how did they, like, they caught them because one of them had phoned home from a phone box, like, hello, love, it's me, yeah, I'm on the run. just forget the oven, put it to 200.
Yeah, they were idiots.
And then they caught, they like, they only
then
got
a few
for
of
2
them
or 3
won.
days. They caught one of her, and the other one went, keep running. And the guy's like holding her by the collar going, no, stop, we've got you. And she's like, no, keep going.
Well, yeah, some of them were really stupid, obviously.
That sounds great.
I still
But some of them were really good. I really enjoyed the programme. I think it was really good.
Can we be on this program?
It was-
Are
yeah,
we
you
on it
can.
right
You can
now?
apply to be on it next year.
I would just like find someone at my work or like one of your and just say, listen, I'm going to go to the Hunter show. Can I just crash at yours?
No.
And then just go stay at yours.
They'd
Yeah, I'd
check.
let you crash your mine, but
Yeah,
then I'd turn you into the
Well,
hunter.
did you not see them go and
Is
check
there a
friends
reward?
and
I'll tell you where he is. I'll tell you before you even tell me there's an award. He's on my couch. Is there a reward? No, there's no reward. Damn it. Well, he's on my couch. Do you want my keys?
They wouldn't know. They wouldn't come and knock on Anthony's door and go, have you seen Jack Marshall? Like, they can't even come into your house. So it's like,
I'd just be
No,
sweating
well, they
bullets.
can.
Like, oh
They
no.
can do, Jack. They can read all your text messages that you've had because they can get into your phone
Yeah, I
and
was
read
doing
that.
verbally
They can
on the
look at all your
podcast.
phone. They can look at all your phone calls. They can look at your email communications. They can look at all your social media profiles, and they will know that you have had this arrangement with Anthony.
Yeah, but listen,
What I
we're
would
talking about this program, not the government. Oh!
I would walk across
No,
the
they're
road.
using the government tracking systems
Do you know what I
to
would
find
do?
people.
Oh.
That's the point. Is showing you how the government can find
Oh, is
you.
that actually the...
The point of it
I
is,
would
yes,
go
to
and
show
find-
how
I see.
quickly and how easy it is for the government to track every little
Do
thing
they
you
perform drone strikes if you lose?
Yeah.
Kill your family.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go find a row of houses up the road, it's like clearly student, knock on one of them with a film crew chasing me, going, hello, I'm on the Hunted, can I just crash here for like a while, and you guys keep to yourself?
Yeah, but if the film
And I
crew
go,
are there,
yeah,
won't
sure.
they know?
And then the poor film crew, they got to sit with me for a whole like 3 months, sitting in a student flat for like
3
months while they're
weeks.
trying to track us. And I'm like, yeah, just don't use the internet, mate.
That actually
Yeah, but
sounds
how
like
are
a
you
really
going to
good
live?
program,
How are you
seriously. I want to
going
watch
to eat?
this.
It
How
is
do
really
I
good.
eat?
It's on
Let's
4D.
give the students some money, go down to Tesco, get some food. Just don't tell anyone I'm buying this for someone who's hiding in my house. It's not hard.
Right,
Anyway,
I think
we-
you and James need to sign up for this program
We-
together.
How would you, if you were on the Hunted, how would you guys have, what would be your plan?
Well, wait, can I just... So the premise is, you go to their studio, they say, right, you're hunted.
No,
mate.
there's no studio.
They call you up?
No, they apply for the program, and then they're told that at some point during this 3-month period,
You're
they're going to
getting
get the
hunted.
call to say you need to go on the run.
Okay.
At which point they just have to drop everything and go.
For 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then if you win...
And at the end of the 3 weeks, they were told that they to win, they had to be on board this plane that was due to take off at this time from this airport, and they had to get there.
But then they could have the hunters, like, just waiting next to the plane for the people to go there, sure.
Yeah, they weren't. They didn't play the game like that.
Okay. That sounds good.
So what would you do, James?
I would literally just go to a hotel for 3 weeks.
Yeah, but what name would you check in as?
Ezekiel Barbados.
How would you pay? Oh, they take all your money, and they
James
give you
McNadian.
an account to use for the show, which has got £400 in,
I would
and that's the
immediately-
only
okay.
money you're allowed.
So you need to immediately take all the money out.
Exactly.
Just
But the
draw
thing
out
is,
from
loads of
your
them
local
didn't,
bank.
which
Yeah,
was really
they would-
stupid. Loads of them took £200 out. It's like, well, why are you doing that?
They would get a
'Cause
train
now you're gonna have
all
to get
the
more
way
money.
to Glasgow and go, just going to get a fiver out. Oh, do you
Get
do
a
you
train to Glasgow,
contactless
take a
love?
fiver
Yeah, a bit
out.
of contactless
Train to
love.
Staines, get a tenner out. Train to Newcastle, get a fiver out.
Exactly.
He just bought a burger in Weatherspoons, grab him. Oh,
No, but lots of them did that. It was absolutely ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
I feel like
Some of
it's
them were
so
really stupid.
Do you get a prize if you win?
Glory.
Oh. So no.
I'm really looking forward to next year's RuPaul's Drag Race The Hunted.
Running down the road in heels.
That would be amazing.
Right. Let's get into gaming then. Let's talk about gaming. Big one. And I want to jump... big year for gaming. Not really.
Not for me.
Let's jump into the fact that that's what I kind of want to jump straight into and talk to start off with, just having just the Wii U. How has the Wii U been this year?
Crap.
It has, isn't it?
Yeah. Zelda was delayed.
Yeah, but Mario Maker came out, which got a lot.
No, I didn't like it.
Do you have
Really?
Yeah, got it. I didn't. It's
I
not my
haven't got
thing. I don't want to build my own games.
I
I want to
actually
do that.
didn't-
I'd do it for a career.
I didn't like it either, actually, to be honest.
I want to play games.
Do you like it?
I don't wanna make 'em.
Why?
The idea is cool.
I haven't got it yet.
Oh, like conceptually, it was great.
Making the levels is like sort of okay. I've never been that attached to the actual Mario sort of aesthetic, so it's not super nostalgic.
I think they're targeting a definite demographic. Like
They
Yeah.
are, but
Minecraft
the average quality of levels sucks, and finding
Yeah.
new levels is really difficult because it's
Apologies
Nintendo
for
and they
the
don't understand.
Yeah.
Apologies for the police siren if you're driving.
Like,
There is a
Oh,
fire
brilliant.
truck.
This and Nintendo.
Fire truck, sorry.
It's never been a police car.
Go on, James.
So basically, there's one option to arrange by like most starred or favorited or whatever,
Awesome.
and almost all of the levels are like these autoplay, like don't press
Yeah.
anything song levels,
Yeah.
or like these amazing contraption levels that like go
which
through all
are
these
really
things.
clever and they are amusing to watch.
But they get old, like, after-
but I'm not playing a game.
Yeah.
So, do you reckon Nintendo might roll out some sort of categorization of saying these are song levels, these are instant death
I'd
levels,
hope
these are
so,
mega hard
but
levels,
honestly,
these are regular good
But
levels?
I don't know. All the hype's gone around. I don't know. I never hear anyone talking about it
They
anymore.
Out of
they
all
rolled
the-
out a few updates afterwards.
Yeah, no, they added some cool stuff. They added checkpoints, which I mean,
Yeah.
it baffles me that wasn't in the base game. But Nintendo don't understand online; like they really don't get it at all. They've got some weird management stuff going on. I would imagine.
Because Wii U this year, apart from that as well, I mean, to be honest, I was thinking about this the other day, you could probably spend about $3,000 and buy every Wii U game that's out there. There's only
That's a
about,
bit much. I'd say £1,000.
You're in the thousands?
$3,000.
like, how many Wii U games are there? Like
Are
40?
you buying one Wii U for each game?
Well, that's my point, though, isn't it? Like, because this year, Splatoon, I think, was probably the big one.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I enjoyed
Mario
Splatoon.
Kart 8? Was that last year?
That was
Must
like
have
2
been
Mario
years
last
Kart 8
ago.
was 2 years ago.
Jesus, okay.
No,
that is bad,
I've got a
isn't it?
list here.
Go on.
So Mario Maker was
washing.
awful. Mario Party 10
Oh,
was
God, it's terrible.
appalling.
Yeah, I heard bad things.
Absolutely appalling.
One car.
Mario Party 8 was absolutely sublime. 9 I missed. I didn't get around to playing that. And then 10 I got on release day. Really excited. And then Neil and I started playing it. And you don't go around the board as an individual.
You go in a car.
You go around the board as a car with everyone else.
That sort of defeats the point. doesn't it?
Exactly. Completely different. It's like, well, it's meant to be a board game.
It's inexcusable that 10 games
Absolutely
in...
appalling.
No, but it's inexcusable 10 games in that they would make that big a design mistake.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
probably
it
didn't
was
think
rubbish.
But it's not even like, oh yeah, but it's targeted little children. No, it's not. It's generally a bad mechanic.
They probably didn't think it was a design mistake. Maybe they were designing something that you weren't hoping for.
But that's what I mean. But I don't know who they were hoping for then. It's like the iPad Pro. Who the hell are they aiming at?
Well,
Pros.
that's a really
Pros.
ignorant view to take. So let's just not go there. I mean,
And then
Yoshi's Woolly Yarn?
Yoshi's Woolly World
Woolly World?
is really, really good. I am halfway through the second world and haven't played it for about 3 months. But that's down to other stuff happening like weddings and babies. But it is really, really good. It's very cute. The amiibo support is really cute as well. So like when you put your amiibo into the game, then Yoshi transforms into a Yoshi of that amiibo. So like
pretty cool.
Peach Yoshi is really, really cute and Pikachu is really cute.
How about 3DS? Because I haven't paid much attention to 3DS this year. Was that
In terms
been a
of
good year?
in terms of the IPs that I like.
Was there a new Pokemon this year?
No, haven't even talked about when the next one's coming. The rumour is that it's going to be Z, but no one's sure.
And then there was obviously there's been a lot of Animal Crossing.
I don't
guess.
play that. No new Professor Layton, because that's ended
Well,
now.
the rumour is, what's the new Nintendo console? The Q or something stupid? The
NX?
ZX or something like that? They're
NX,
planning, I think
NX.
there might be a reveal next year, which I was surprised. I was like, wow, so soon after the Wii U? Then I realised actually the Wii U's been out for about 4 years.
Also, it was a complete failure from a marketing
It's still
standpoint.
sold, right? It's still
I
making
mean, it sold
money.
some.
not as
but
much, not compared to the Wii. When the
I
Wii
would
was
imagine they
released.
didn't
Oh,
make
yeah,
a
but
return
they're-
on investment in terms of research and actual.
I think they
Yeah.
did lose money on the console, but because their IP is so strong, they've
But they
clawed
never,
it
like-
back in other divisions.
And I don't even understand, so Minecraft is coming out on the Wii U finally next week, right? And the big thing that everyone thought, oh, cool, because they're going to use the second screen as your inventory, right? And they tweeted the people at Minecraft, and they said, oh, Mahong, are we going to do that? And they were like, no, we're not doing that. But they were like, good idea, though. So,
Can I just
what
point
the-
out? Do you think that the developer of Minecraft is called Mahong?
Mahong.
Mojang.
Whatever. Same thing.
you're thinking of that game that
yeah, you're
Chinese
thinking of
people
the tile
play.
game.
Yeah. But anyway, I was still like, They were like, no, we're doing that. The second screen is just like an optional screen.
That's Nintendo in a nutshell,
But
isn't
it's
it? Though? They introduce these gimmicks and then don't use them because they suck.
Yeah.
No, the thing is, but the second screen works well. Like, for example, Fallout 4, you can use an app on your phone called Pip-Boy.
Yeah.
And I like that. It was actually, you could like fast travel using it. You could show all your inventory on its screen, and it actually is quite a nice thing. And it's like there are games for the Wii U. It's like that makes completely logical sense.
Oh yeah, no.
And they're just not bothered to do it. They're like, no, it's poor.
I think with the new Zelda game, they're going to be doing that.
Inventory. Yeah. Makes sense.
It'll be inventory and
There was
all
a new
maps
Zelda-
and stuff on there.
There was a new Zelda game on 3DS just come out, right? Like
No,
Free
they
TriStar Hero or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Majora's Mask.
Oh, that came out.
But yeah,
earlier as
there's
well.
a huge design flaw with that game though, because in order to play it, you can't do it with 2 people. You need 3 people. So you can
Which
do it
is-
solo, or you can do it with 3 people, but not with 2 people. Like, what are you doing? Why? No.
Yeah.
No.
Like they must have done some market research and found it turns out most people have 2 friends with a 3DS or something like that. And I'd like, yeah, so a bit of a weird year for Nintendo. A funny one.
Yeah, it's just been a bit of a down year.
Even Mario Maker was an interesting thing for Nintendo to do.
Yeah, it's a great concept. It just, for me, it's not something that I'm interested in doing.
And it's certainly become like I said.
Neil enjoyed it.
The Wii U has just
For half an hour.
become like I call it like the new dad's console because it's for like the dads whose kids can play when they want, but then also they only get like an hour a week to game,
Yeah.
so they just turn on the Wii U and quickly play
That seems
Bayonetta 2 or
apt.
something. But it's a shame because I really like the console. I've still got I've had it for like a year and a half, and I've got 6 games, which isn't a lot.
I think I've got about 6 or 7 games for it as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
I
And
don't
I-
have that many.
And there is literally the new Zelda I'm not even that fussed about, and the new Star Fox, unless it gets an amazing review, I'm not that fussed about.
The new
So
Star Fox
that's
looks
it.
abysmal. Seriously, the gameplay footage they've shown of that, it literally looks about 15 years old. Like, that is one of the ugliest games relative to the year it's being released that I've ever seen. God, it just looks...
Are you talking about the one that's made by Platinum?
I don't know if Platinum... It's the Star Fox game that's coming out on the Wii U.
I don't know if it's being made by. Oh, it's made by platform. No, it's made by Platinum, or at least they're associated with it.
No,
Maybe
they're
doing
developing it.
Are they developing the whole thing?
Yeah, 10 out of
Fair
10.
enough.
Have you seen the footage?
It's gonna be 10 out of 10. Don't even
It
try and
looks so
don't even
bad.
try and suggest
And
it won't be
most
10 out of
early-
10.
Anthony, why do
most
you love
early
Platinum
impressions-
games so much?
Most early impressions are saying that it sucks because the control scheme is the motion controls on the gamepad
Yeah.
just doesn't work.
Why do you love Platinum games so much?
Because I think more than any other company, any other development company, they blast happiness in my face the most.
Okay, makes sense.
But also, there's such
Did you like Bayonetta 2? Have you played that yet?
everything about their games seems surface because it's all very flashy. But then there's such depth to their games that even if they make a very short game that's 4.5 hours long,
Yeah.
you could easily play it for a year solid, just because you're exploring the mechanics or making like combo videos to upload to YouTube, or whatever.
They're a good.
I haven't played
company.
Bayonetta 2 because I don't have a Wii.
Their name holds weight. If I hear they're developing a game, I go, ooh, kind of like what Ninja Fury used to be. But like,
Both
Um,
weirdy Japanese developers that make hack and slash games that are sort of the...
Yeah, Ninja Theory are way worse.
Yeah,
so,
they are.
tell me about PC gaming this year, Anthony. What's been flagging your ship?
The thing that's been
sense.
floating my boat the most, I think, is that I don't partake in a lot of them, but a lot of JRPGs are coming to PC,
Right.
which is a huge shift for Japanese developers because they classically have never developed for PC. It's always for visual novels full of anime porn, as far as apparently Japanese people are concerned. But now these companies
Wow.
are taking note because they can basically re-release their games on PC, and there's this whole other revenue stream.
What big JRPGs have come out this year?
All of the Final Fantasy 13 titles have come out on PC by now because Lightning Returns just came out. So I wouldn't be surprised if like Final Fantasy 15 is coming out on PC. I don't know if that is the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if it eventually did.
I think it will.
Namco Bandai have got on the boat because they've just ported, along with the PS4 release, they've ported Tales of Zestiria to the PC.
yeah.
So I didn't buy that for the PS3. I waited until it came out on the PS4, the PC, and bought it then. And they're also porting Tales of Symphonia, which is their
also,
like,
there's that.
big.
Is Dragon's Dogma just being ported to the PC?
Yeah, the second one. No, is it the second
Why?
one? It's Dark. I don't know.
Why are they porting all these now?
Because it's untapped money. They've realised. I think it's because a few companies have been porting or trying to port JRPGs for a while. The Trails in the Sky games are like huge Vita and PC games that they sort of brought to the English market.
But it's a small pot of untapped revenue. It's not.
I think
like,
compared
it's
to
not
what they're getting on the
sustainable.
consoles, because JRPGs don't have a huge
Yeah.
Western
I
audience
guess
anyway.
it's a quicker development than trying it into a console in a Western. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've got to translate it and everything, but
Yeah.
I think they're realising the potential there, so they're doing it, and I really enjoy that and I encourage it. So, I mean, sometimes the ports are terrible, but early days, I suppose.
Do to change the subject a bit, so I went onto Wikipedia to have a look at 2015 in games, and it
Quite a short article.
no.
This has been a good year for games. Seriously.
Oh, good God, no, it hasn't.
Oh.
Yeah, it has. Compared to
talking
2014, yeah, as The Witcher 3 is fantastic.
It's hard because in a way, actually, because gaming I still think is the best entertainment media going at the moment. I still think it's putting out like the best quality, but in a retrospective of compared to other years, it's been a bad year.
What were the best 3 games of 2014?
Well, I was looking at. I was looking at.
Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, Pokemon Omega Ruby.
I was looking at more like industry stuff, and basically, so the Wikipedia article was more about the gaming industry this year, and it has just been closure of so many places. For example, 2K Australia gone, Maxis.
Oh, no.
The guys who did Spec Ops series.
Wait, what did Maxis make?
Nintendo
They made
have-
Spore.
SimCity.
Maxis did SimCity and Spore and Sim stuff. Nintendo moving into mobile development. People Can Fly split from Epic. Tale of Tales, who just did Sunset, they've gone. Activision Blizzard
Tale of
obviously
Tales.
buying King was quite good. Jaeger Development gone. Razor Inc. have gone. 2K China gone. Konami closed down its Los Angeles, and God knows what's going on with
Yeah,
Hideo
that's a
Kojima
huge
and stuff like that at the
embarrassment.
moment. And it's generally there's been the big news stories appear to feel like they're all based around negative stuff, like
Well, that's the stuff you'll hear
the
about.
launch
Yeah,
of Batman
that's-
Arkham Knight. Obviously, Hideo
Studios don't
Kojima.
announce when they're doing really well. They just announce when they're doing terribly. So you're
I
not going
guess
to
so,
hear
but
that
it's
stuff.
just I don't know. It didn't feel like I heard many massive successes this year. Even indie felt like it was a bit like Her Story was very good.
Her story was
this year.
phenomenal. That was, I think that was a landmark moment.
It
for games.
felt it just. Am I wrong in saying that it felt like it was a bit of a slow year for gaming?
I disagree. I think it was a great year.
Yeah?
I think it's one of. I think that this is the best year since 2013 for games.
Why, James? What made it your year?
Because there were games released that were good. 2014 sucked. There were
What games were released? Yeah, but how many games this year released that were good for you?
okay, Bloodborne, The Witcher 3, Her Story, The
Three.
Beginner's Guide.
Beginner's Guide? What's the Beginner's
Fallout
Guide?
4 was enjoyable.
Metal Gear Solid 5. You've
fuck
getting
off.
that one.
Tales of
Okay, no,
Zestiria.
look, let's talk about Metal Gear Solid 5, right? Never in my life
Great game.
have I seen something that I was so excited for receive such critical acclaim and been so at odds with all of those opinions, because it was almost unanimous how much people loved it, but I detest that game, okay? There are a few key problems with it. The first being the open world adds almost nothing to the actual experience, okay? Because ultimately, the only moments of gameplay are when you sneak into the bases, the individual bases that are all secluded locations, and then exfiltrate from them. It's bookended by loading screens when you go in and out, so it may as well not even be open world. You know, there's no incentive to explore, absolutely no incentive. You literally just go in, do the linear mission in there. Oh, maybe there are 2 or 3 ways to do it. You can put the guard to sleep, or you can choke him out, or you can shoot him in the head. You know, but you're sneaking in and taking a guy out. So I feel like they invested a huge amount of development time and money into the open world, which, as far as I'm considered, was wasted. The story was bad. I mean, the story was really bad. Like, you can argue whether the Metal Gear games have a good story or not. Personally, I think that whilst they're super cheesy and melodramatic and weird,
They don't.
they actually have a really, really good sense of narrative, and they're really cinematic, right? And they are cinematic.
Do you know the story of Metal Gear Solid?
No.
You were never going to explain
James, can
it.
you try to summarise the story of
Is
Metal
it
Gear
based
Solid?
around a solid gear
You-
made of
okay,
metal,
listen,
and then you
okay,
have
You
to
are a drama
arrange it into a
teacher.
cog?
You appreciate.
Okay,
the-
listen. I'll do this, right? Okay.
Go on.
So there's this charismatic government operative called Snake, right? And in the Cold War, he does a lot.
Oh,
of
I've heard of him before.
He does cool badass, right? And there's this political intrigue during the Cold War, and the Russians suck, and the US suck, and the Chinese suck, and everyone's like, "Wow, this guy's amazing." And so they clone him, and he has these children that are his clones, and they go off to do really bad. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. And there's like big robots. So that's the story in a nutshell.
So is he trying to kill his children?
He doesn't find out about his children until the end of game number 3. Now, don't forget, these aren't in chronological order. Like, the order of them is
No, well, no, that would be
completely mental.
ridiculous.
Basically, there's this clandestine organization called the Patriots that sort of pull all the strings behind the scenes, you know, and so they're
So is it a shoot 'em up?
it's a stealth game. It's a third-person shooter stealth game.
Oh, okay. No, they're
And
quite
the
boring.
5th one is the end of the timeline.
No, the 5th one is set in the 80s.
So it's in the middle of the other games.
It's in the middle. But listen, the story sucked in 5, right? There were almost no cutscenes. There were loads of missions where there was the only exposition. The only exposition was Miller giving you your instructions over the radio, and then you go in and do it, and that's it.
There is a dog that you can signal to the dog to go and stab someone in the neck, and the dog will literally pull a little knife out from his little side pouch, go, I'm off, run up behind the guard, jump on his back of his and cut his throat, and come back again.
That's quite a well-trained dog.
Listen, that's sort of stuff.
That's the pinnacle of storytelling in
But
this game.
my cats can play fetch.
They can.
They should put that.
I'd like to see a dog do that.
That's cooler.
Yeah.
But that's that type of stuff, Jack. The companion pets, all the weird ways you can do stuff. None of it matters if the easiest and most efficient way is always just to shoot the guy in the head with a silenced gun. Like, it doesn't matter how many options there are. This is the best way to do it. So that's the way that you're going to do it.
I haven't played number 5, and I didn't really like any of the Metal Gear Solid games. They've never been my cup of tea. But I think it was one of you guys said to me that I'll probably love number 5.
You'll like 5 more than the others.
You guys said, and this is going to make all the listeners go, what? People who like Metal Gear Solid games don't like Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yes, I think that's generally the rule of thumb. I love Metal Gear Solid, and I thought 5 was terrible.
Did you play 5?
No, I don't play Metal Gear Solid games because
You
except
tend to
for
watch them.
Revengeance, but I do like to watch them.
But you could never watch 5, right? Because there isn't enough there. There's no meat.
I don't know what that means.
No, I suspect when the Let's Play comes out, I'll watch it.
them.
You'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
So it
But-
sounds almost seedy.
No, the stories
I don't like
and
to join
the
in,
secrets
but I like to
are so good.
watch.
I haven't got to the most important grievance yet.
Sorry, go on.
And that is that the game, it doesn't act, the true ending, the ending to the game, due to the weird disputes Kojima was having with Konami, it's not in the game. You have to, the collector's edition comes with a DVD that you can watch the ending on, or you can find it on YouTube, in which Big Boss does all the stuff with it, wraps it up. But in the game, that doesn't exist, so it just trails off, it just fades out like a candle, and then it ends, and that's it's not even a secret ending, it's not like the true ending.
Very
it's just the
similar
ending.
to Dr. Foster.
Yes.
Candles don't fade out.
Yeah, they do. Have you never
out.
seen a candle die?
They flicker out, don't they?
No.
Look, this
burn
faded
out.
away like a candle. It should have Kurt Cobained like a Kurt Cobain, okay? It's just, it wasn't explosive enough. It wasn't explosive enough, and it wasn't narratively consistent.
I like Kurt Cobain.
It wasn't narratively consistent, okay? It literally just ends, and I don't understand why I got a free pass, because that was actually disrespectful.
I love a game that gives me a big old map and says, Jack, here's 1,000 things on a map, go do them all, and I go, ooh, I love that stuff. Like Far Cry and Mad Max and stuff like that. So I am looking forward to Metal Gear Solid. Just Cause.
3.
Have there been
Just
any
Cause
other
3.
games recently that have been like that?
Just Cause 3.
Fallout.
Fallout 4 came
That's
out, didn't it?
I will talk about Fallout 4 because I can. I'm 50 hours in. I'm level 48.
And you still haven't completed it?
Because I'm doing everything. Because I like ticking off.
You're a completionist.
I like seeing visual progress a lot in my games. Although it annoys me a bit because enemies respawn a bit in Fallout 4, and that annoys me because I'm not.
Jack,
I've already
did you
been
play
there.
Skyrim and Oblivion?
Yeah.
Do you agree with me that Fallout 4
4
seems content light compared to those games?
It doesn't feel content like. It just feels far. It doesn't feel as epic. It feels like it feels like Bethesda doing a lazy version of one of their games. Just like even everything about it, even the starting storyline doesn't give that same effect that Skyrim and Fallout 3 had. It just feels like it just rolls out, and it's like, here you go back, and even the back of the box it says "Welcome Home," and it feels like that. It feels like you're coming back to a game you've played a lot before,
It feels
which I
a bit
love
like
playing.
the next yearly annual release.
Yeah, I love playing, and it's huge. I mean, it's ridiculously big. It's insane, but yeah, I just kind of
EA's Fallout 4.
It doesn't feel like risks, and even where they have taken risks, it's very like, you can do this if you want. You don't have to do it. It's a new thing we put in, but you don't have to do this if you don't
Because I mean,
want
the base
to.
building sucks.
Yeah,
right?
like you can build settlements if you want, but you don't have to do it. Don't worry about it if you don't want to do it.
That's good though, because if
It's-
they forced that down your throat, that would have been
I
terrible.
would rather see them take risks than
The
play
voice
safe.
protagonist was a huge risk. It actually has divided people's
Yeah.
opinion quite a lot.
Were you going to ask something then?
No, I was just going to make a point about the starting story of Fallout 4 because Neil got it and he started. I wasn't playing it, and Neil started playing it. And I was watching him, and obviously with all the pregnancy hormones and stuff,
Oh, did
the
you get
whole
emotional?
baby. Oh my god, I was in massive tears. I couldn't watch it. I was like, it's too good.
Never played
And
The
I had
Last
to
of
leave.
Us.
Oh no, I started playing
Wait,
that.
hold on.
I got about halfway through it.
Christmas
Neil's nearly
present.
finished it.
Christmas present. Hold on, come on, guys. I'm looking forward to Last of Us. I know it's like 3 years
The
old,
main
so I should have
character
played
dies.
Yeah, spoilers. You can't avoid that. That's silly. If it's been a year, then that's your own fault.
It's been 2 years.
it. When
Well,
when
yeah.
is it acceptable to openly talk about spoilers in
2 years.
A year.
product? 2 years.
6 months.
A year.
A
3
day.
hours. 3 hours.
It's 6.
Whilst
I'm pretty
it's
sure it's
happening.
6
While
months.
you're in the cinema, just shout it out.
6 month limit.
Is that the official? You're like in it.
Yeah.
That's the official. Okay.
Anthony decided.
What did you think of Fallout 4?
It was enjoyable, but it wasn't exceptional, and it was buggy to the point that I almost didn't want to complete it. It was
What-
buggy and it didn't run well.
I haven't played it, but everyone said to me, "Oh, Fallout 4 is fantastic." Although Witcher 3 is better.
Yeah,
And
Fallout
I've
4.
not played it. I've not
The
played
Witcher
Witcher
3 is
3.
better than Fallout 4 in every way, and I think actually, despite the fact that The Witcher 3 is beautiful and runs well, the biggest difference is in the quality of writing. Because I'm playing through
Yeah.
the Hearts of Stone expansion now for The Witcher 3, and the writing quality is it's snappy, it's funny, you know, it's really well delivered and really well written. And Fallout 4, some of the lines are laughable. Like some of them would be used in a parody of what Bethesda games are meant to sound like. 'Cause it's so bad.
So I should play Witcher 3. You say?
You'd love it, yes. I mean, it's the best game released this year.
Do you
for sure.
concur, Anthony?
I haven't played it. Western RPGs aren't really my thing. I like to turn that W into a J.
Are we all gaijins?
No, I am. I think.
No, that means what, White Devil?
I think it's foreigner, basically. But I'm a foreigner
So-
as far as Japanese culture. You guys are not even on the map.
So you're an otaku and we don't exist.
No, they're otakus. I'm a gaijin, and you guys are just, I don't know.
No, they're not otakus. They're Japanese. I thought an otaku was a person who's interested in Japanese culture but isn't from Japan.
Well, I think otaku describes Japanese people first and foremost. I think that's a word
does
they
it?
use about themselves.
Oh, okay.
And then Western people like to appropriate it because they're gaijins. Although I want to point out that I'm not really into all that stuff, so I'm using these words ironically.
Okay.
What a hipster.
Yeah.
Anyone got any big surprises this year in gaming that they enjoyed?
Found out as a woman. Oh, gaming. I was like, finally, that explains the vagina.
What, gaming?
No, finding out as a woman, but I didn't realise.
And while your birth certificate says Antonia.
Yeah. Antonia Hobwoman. I thought it was Hob Day this entire time, but my last name is Hobwoman.
So I think that is an enemy in The Witcher 3, actually, like the Hob Woman. She's the end boss.
Antonia Hobwoman.
Yeah.
Kicking ass and taking names.
Nintendo started doing microtransactions on their Pokemon games
Really?
that they
So
released
they
through the App Store. Yes, they're free to download. There's two. It's Pokemon Shuffle, which is kind of like in the Candy Crush vein of match 3, defeat enemies, blah blah blah. And then you need to buy hearts to continue with the game. You only get 5 hearts a day.
No.
You got to do that. So
This isn't released through their.
it's through it's through the online store on the DS. It's free to download, and you can play it with just 5 hearts a day. No, it's 5. They replenish after 2.5 hours. I can't remember. Anyway, but then they started doing microtransactions. It's the second game as well, Pokemon Rumble World, which is the same, and it's all microtransactions. And I was really sad. I was like, I would rather pay 15-20 quid for one of these. They're not a full Pokemon game, so I wouldn't pay 40 quid. But I'd rather pay that and have no microtransactions than have this. It just upsets me.
Mobile games.
It's not needed.
Yeah.
If it's on a mobile phone, fair enough. But I've bought your console. I don't want microtransactions. But they do it to get the kids in because the kids all pester their parents to make them buy it. That was a big surprise for me.
Mobile gaming this year feels like it didn't really get, like Monument Valley, The Room 3.
It's too full. It's
And a
too
lot of-
saturated.
a lot of
Trying to
in-
find a good game
A
to
lot
play
of
on your
indie
phone
games.
is really
Like,
hard.
if you go like iTunes, I don't care. But if you go on there, and if I check the charts quite often, like it doesn't move much. Like it's very often the same piece, and a game might creep in on the launch day and then it will just disappear.
Yeah.
and
I
think-
it's really.
I've
dropped.
never
Did
understood
Alto come out
mobile
this year?
gaming. It's what?
Alto, did that come out this year?
Yeah, I think so.
I really enjoyed Alto.
On my mobile this year, I can't remember what I've been playing.
When I first got a
I'm playing
smartphone,
Sudoku
I
online.
was so excited because I was like, oh yeah, this is basically a new platform for me to experience games. You know, I'm so excited. There are no good games on mobile. I've never played a game that I've loved on mobile. Monument Valley was the
Plants
closest I
vs
got.
Zombies, the first one was
They
really
are-
good.
they
That
are
was
there.
on
But then
PC.
2 was microtransactions.
But the first one was on PC.
Oh, that's
first.
true.
Well, I play, okay, so maybe it's a bad example. Like yesterday, I went to some friend's house and we were playing board games, and they all went well. And then I put out Heads Up on my mobile.
Oh, that game is fantastic.
And that
actually.
is
That is
just
good.
it's funny because like I looked today to buy the rest of the decks. It was like $7.99 for 25 decks. Oh, but then I thought, well, I'd pay that for a board game. I'd pay twice that for the same board game. So there are little bits, but
There is-
you're right. Overall, mobile game this year, there was nothing I jumped out of my way.
There
to
is
go,
a mobile
"Ooh."
game that I think you would love, and
You're gonna
I was
say
going to
Devil's
suggest we
Eternity?
should all play.
Oh,
No, it's called Plot Guru. It's
Oh,
by
yeah.
a guy who's on Reddit. He was plugged it on one of the forums. So basically, at the moment, it only works for Bob Burgers because it was in the Bob's Burgers subreddit. But he's going to expand it to other TV shows. But the idea is that you and your 4 mates sit down together with your phones. You've all got the app on your phone. And then you tell it which episode of Bob's Burgers you're about to watch. And then throughout the episode, it's timed so that it'll then ask a trivia question based on what's going to happen. And then you select your answer, and then it tells you whether you're right or wrong
That's
and how the
pretty
others
cool.
have done.
That's quite
And then at the end of the episode, it then says who's won that episode.
Oh, nice.
Kind of thing. And he's expanding it to some other TV shows, and it sounds really good. And if it's a program that you and your friends all know and you love, then I can imagine it being really good fun.
Yeah, that's
to
quite
all
a-
sit there together and play.
That's a unique usage of the smartphone in other media, isn't it? Because it's not really a game in and of
It's
itself.
using it as a
It's
handset.
enhancing the other experience.
Yeah, Plot Guru.
Calling
It looks really good.
Next year, we're going to see the first ever properly like virtual reality film. Where you sit, you put on an Oculus or you put on your VR.
Oh, that
Sony
would be
thing,
cool.
And they've basically filmed, so it'd be like The Martian, but when you're sitting there, it's
You're
like
just sitting there in a chair next to Matt Damon whilst he's
But yeah, no,
fertilising
no.
his potatoes,
But
and
imagine
you're
if you're
like,
just
oh.
you're sitting in the room and the scene is just going on. You're the camera, so you're just
But
looking
Jack,
around
in order
going,
But
Yeah, I
Jack,
would
that's
have-
called the theatre.
yeah, but I'm not. I can't. But when I get up on the stage, they normally boo me off.
Oh, that's true.
But Jack,
then.
in order for that to work, it would have to be CGI because you can't film every single angle of every
Yeah,
single
that's the
person.
problem. But I'm just saying, wouldn't that be brilliant? That'd
I
be cool.
don't think it'll happen next year.
Imagine watching The Godfather and he's like, Michael, what are you doing?
What's
but
with
you're
the
in the room.
I
You're
don't
like,
know. He was doing that on
oh.
Friday, wasn't he?
2015 was year of the hype train for virtual reality, despite no proof.
And I am all
There's
aboard.
some proof. That Microsoft HoloLens Minecraft demo was amazing.
That was
Yeah, what do you mean no proof?
proof in no sense.
What do you mean
I had to go on an Oculus Rift when Neil and I were on honeymoon, and it was really cool. It was you looked at your hand, and then your right hand conjured a water sphere, and your your left hand conjured fire, and you had to throw it at a fire ghost or a water ghost. You had to throw the opposite.
that's
So
cool.
fire ghost coming towards you, you had to conjure a sphere of water and then throw it at them. And you're in these woods, and then you could walk around the woods and throw it at them, and it was really cool.
I really want to
Yeah.
jump back on him going like VR hype train with no proof. There is like barrels of proof. There's been so
Even
many
just user testimonials like the one Lisanne literally just gave.
and like the critics
saying that it's awesome.
The
It
critics
was really
are
cool.
all jumping on it, saying that they think it's going to be a big thing. They're like, it's really fun. Loads of studios. Have
This
done
isn't
big
another
stuff for
3D
it.
glasses thing.
Facebook
like VR is
bought
going to
Oculus.
take off. Seriously, it's going to.
Anthony, imagine those Japanese RPGs. If you're sitting in the room, you're like,
Imagine
"Let's go."
how many tentacles you could have. Seriously.
No different.
No different. No different.
I
at
think
all.
it requires basically VR as a gaming concept. So the fact that it's first person, let's say that for example, like I think a lot of the ideas are based on around the first person viewpoint because that's natural, right? But that means you're immediately limited to one genre of gaming.
Those are just proof of concepts. And actually, I've played some VR games that aren't first person.
Right, I just don't think there's many concepts that are not first person that will benefit that much from the more immersive experience.
I
And so
disagree, though. I mean, we're stuck in a paradigm right now. I mean, who knows what genres of game could come to life due to VR? I mean, there are things that we've never thought of that could become the
Right,
industry
but-
It's
standard.
true.
people have said the same about touchscreen, people say the same about free to play.
Yeah, which is true.
touchscreen. Touchscreen's awesome.
Free to play
Easy for everything.
Why don't-
has overtaken the industry. MOBAs are the most profitable games that have ever been, and that's because of free to play.
Right, but people are positioning virtual reality in a way that people weren't necessarily positioning. They weren't saying touchscreen's going to change our lives, but everyone's talking about virtual reality as if it's going to be this huge, I don't know, point in time where suddenly everything's better in our lives because of virtual reality. I don't mean like making food or whatever, I mean in gaming. But I just don't think there's enough to justify the hype. I think people are fallout foring this thing.
I think it'll exist in tandem with regular games that we're used to. Like, I don't think it's going to change the industry and overtake absolutely every single genre. You know, I don't think all games we play in 10 years will be VR. I think there will be certain genres and certain developers that stick very closely to it and refine it and make it really good. But it'll be kind of like another platform, like PC and console and VR.
Right, I just mean tell me about it when that happens in 5 years. Don't tell me about it now as if I should be getting on
But
the
why
hype
are you not
train too.
interested in the evolution of it? You know,
No, I mean, I've tried
not
Oculus Rift. It didn't blow my mind. So until it's provably blowing my mind, because my mind is being blown at that moment, I'm not gonna, I'm bearish on it. Not gonna.
Have you tried Oculus Rift?
Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
I was in a canoe. I got really ill. I was.
Best technology to come out in
And
the
then I
last 10
realised I was
years.
sitting in a gaming. I was sitting in a gaming convention, and I was thinking, "Oh, this is lovely going down the river." And I realised there's people watching me. I was just sitting there like rowing a boat like this, going. I must look like a right numpty. We are screaming towards the 2 hour mark on this episode, so we should definitely wrap this up. And I think we should probably wrap it up on what our best game of the year was. Does everyone have one?
No, it wasn't a lot for me.
Oh dear.
I don't have a best game of the year.
Well, how about anyone?
I
have
just finished Shadow of Mordor.
yeah.
I think that was
Mordor was good.
wasn't
That was last year.
2014.
That's
Yeah.
2014.
I play games late, so I was looking through best games 2015 in preparation for
I've never even
this.
heard of these games.
In preparation for this, I was like, I haven't played any of these because I've been playing 2014's games.
What's your summary of the year 2015 for gaming, Anthony?
JRPGs coming out on PC. Yeah.
I don't think anyone has kind of contradicted my original thought that it wasn't great... You still say it was a great year for games, but you haven't...
I think it was good.
No, I completely just forgot. I completely forgot. I've done a huge disservice. Transformers Devastation came out in 2015, and it's a Transformers game based on the G1, like 80s Transformers, but it's made by Platinum Games, and those two things together make me super happy in my pants. And I played it, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, that's like a cartoon character there.
And more than the fact that it was a good game and that I got to play it is... Well, no, that's actually the point, is that it got made. Like, I was never expecting that game to get made. For Activision, who's the company that probably most people would say, make terrible decisions, going to Platinum Games and saying, can you make a G1 Transformers game for us? And then Platinum Games saying yes, and it turning out that they're huge G1 Transformers fans, was... That's the sort of thing that nerds would dream about, have wet dreams about, rather, and that would never happen. They'd be like, oh man, imagine how good it would be.
Thanks for correcting dreams to... I mean, wet dreams, not just dreams. Wet dreams.
Well, that's how
they would
important
have
it is.
dreams about... I'm sorry, I meant wet dreams.
That's the sort of thing that like nerds would dream, like, oh man, imagine if VR was a good technology, and then it actually comes true. Like, you'd never think it would happen, but in this case it did. So it was a very important year just for Transformers
G1,
Devastation.
just for the G1 Transformers community, it was a huge year.
Yes. Amazing.
I think it was almost a transformative year.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Well, if we're allowed to pick games from 2014, then...
Let's just pick any game.
Just pick any game. What games do you like?
Have
you enjoyed the Pokemon?
I just want to remind everyone of how amazing Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker is.
I started playing that recently and I love it. It's great.
It's awesome, isn't it? It's a
the level
lovely
design, the cube worlds are so tactile and so
It's
awesome.
so good. It's just a very cute, clever game.
My game of the year was Shower with Your Dad Simulator. That was a classic if anyone's played that.
Is that what you were playing when I came in? Because you were a bit,
it's a bit
dodgy
awkward.
about it.
Yeah.
I like the Spy on Jack stealth game.
Yeah, I like
we've all been playing.
Jack's Sleeping Times Fun Simulator.
I call it. What was it?
Solid banner, Jack.
It was like what's the top? It was like a Reddit question of what's the top Wi-Fi names, and one of them was like Uncle Pete's Naked Basement Adventure.
Yeah,
that tickled me.
Neil used to have one called Pretty Fly for a Wi-Fi.
Yeah, tell my wife I love her. My Wi-Fi I love her.
tell my wife I love her. less a funny name and more a tragic last word.
That's kind of the point, I think. If you say tell my... Oh no, because you have to take out the E. I just realised. Never mind.
I learned that hackers apparently will often get their passwords and stuff like that by just going and sitting in a Starbucks and changing their router on their phone or whatever it's called, hotspotting, and just calling it free Starbucks or something like that. Yeah. And loads of people will join it.
I'm always wary.
That's a really good idea.
That's why I always go up and ask what's the Wi-Fi network
as a tip,
called.
listeners. Yeah, tip for you.
Because I don't think it happens that often, but I'm always a bit wary, so I always find out.
My phone since about 2000, whenever WAP came out, has always been called the name A Gorilla. So if you look for me on Bluetooth, it's just A Gorilla.
I'll look you up on the Bluetooth.
Yeah. Anyone else got any summary about gaming that they want to share before we wrap this?
I want to offer a solid rebuttal to your nonsense about this being a bad year for games.
Okay.
Because The Witcher 3, I think, is the best RPG I've ever played. Bloodborne, whilst not as good as Dark Souls, I really enjoyed. Indie games this year, I actually know as well, The Taken King, the expansion to Destiny, that game had a really, divisive launch. I enjoyed it when it came out, but loads of people criticised it for valid reasons. The expansion is great, it adds new stuff. I think the general consensus is that it's good. Rocket League, fantastic, there's a massive community around it now. You've got games like Her Story Again, The Beginner's Guide. You've got Undertale, which actually I've started playing, and I'm undecided on but everybody loves that. Like, some people are saying it's the best game they've ever played. Like,
everybody's gone to Rapture.
Everybody's gone to the Rapture, which I really loved as well. It's been a good year for indie games. It's
I don't think. No.
No.
No, I don't think it has.
Oh, I tried, guys.
I think her.
And on that note,
Her Story was very good. Rocket League was good. I was a bit disappointed by Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time. I was kind of excited about that.
The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth as well.
Yeah, and then Hotline Miami 2 wasn't very good.
That sucked. Yeah, but was that this year?
I mean, don't get me wrong. The thing is, I should start by saying that I still think gaming is going through like a renaissance of gaming. I think it's very high quality stuff. Just this year, I brought my Wii U last year. I bought my Xbox One maybe just at the end of last year, and in my gaming collection hasn't grown
Have
that
you played
much.
Halo 5?
No, I'm not going to either.
Why not?
I'll wait till it's 20 quid. You know, standard. But that was a bit
what
of
about
a
Forza? Have you played the new Forza?
Forza Horizon 2 is probably one of the most visually pretty games I've seen in a long
What
time.
about Forza 6? Is it
No, I haven't played 6. This Christmas, I'm looking at just The Last of Us on PS4.
Yeah. That's the only game
what
you
I'm
ever need
buying
to look
it,
at
and I'm going
again.
to get the Uncharted collection because I'm getting my first ever Sony console. Never owned a Sony console before. Da, da, da. I don't know what happens. Like, how do I do
Loser.
it, guys? How do I do it? Do I plug it in?
You wait until Nina Kuni comes out and you play
The
that.
X button is gonna screw with your mind because it's not where you think it's gonna be.
So that wraps up our retrospective of 2015. That's a weird noise. Thank you for listening. We don't know when we're back again. Don't know.
We won't be.
We won't be.
We might
Never.
put my
We
foot
might
down.
be. We don't know.
I reckon
James
we'll
is
be
in
back.
Scotland.
Well, easy to-
Well, I
I'm in
vote to
London.
replace Anthony.
Lazanne's in.
My baby will be the new
Worthing.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Oh God! Next time we do one, you might have a baby.
Next time we do one.
Well,
I'm looking at James as I said that.
well, hopefully, a baby's due in 5.5 months.
I won't
so,
be
you
the
know.
baby of the group anymore.
No, my baby will be.
There'll be literally a baby or the baby of the group.
Yeah.
Bring it along.
And I could do. It might cry. Or it might itself. I don't know.
Will we?
Babies do that,
Perfect
you know.
Anthony replacement.
Yeah.
It won't partake in the banter, that's for sure.
All
So,
right, well,
yeah.
there you go. There you go, listeners. And thank you for listening, guys. And thank you for all your tweets sending in. Looking forward to the show. This is once again being kindly hosted on csicon.net, but it will be changing. Big news to Sicon.fm.
Well, yeah, he can't
CSI
keep it the same website for too long. People will know where it is then.
It'll be
Becky is a man of mystery.
CSICON.fm, but that'll be the New Year's. But .net and .fm will still be up for a while. But the best thing you can do is not even go to that site. Go to their Patreon and sponsor them. Because if you guys have sponsored us more, Retrograde will still be going. It's true. It's true, guys. If you'd have paid us, we would have still been here.
Jokes
It's
aside,
not.
the best thing you can do is to go out and make a difference in the world.
It's not.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
And like
Yeah,
us on Facebook.
Facebook. Keep following us on Twitter because occasionally, once every 6 months, I throw out a tweet and it's always hilarious.
Or actually send us a message on Facebook or Twitter. You know, because I mean, if you hear something like
Review us on
Half-Life-
iTunes.
if you hear something like Half-Life 2 is an overrated piece of garbage and that makes you angry, message us. Let us know.
Did you know that show, It's So Retrograde, that started just as we ended? Huge now. Massive.
Really?
I reckon all of our listeners moved
They've
on to their
occupied
show.
It's not
the
our
space
name.
that we were.
There was a show called That's So Retrograde. It's not about us. It's about...
What do they do?
It's two lovely girls and they talk about just general life stuff. Huge.
I told
Really big
I
show.
told you banter was what we should be doing,
Yeah,
Anthony.
banter. They've refined the banter.
That's
It's a
all
more
they
nice little
want.
Show.
I think
Need
there
more
was
girls,
a
more girls.
crater left over when we left, and they quickly set up shop in
For
it.
shows named Retrograde, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There was definitely a gap. But yeah, make sure you head over to csicon.net and go onto their Patreon site, patreon.com/csicon. Dot nothing, just csicon /csicon. I think I've said csicon enough. So yeah, we wrap things up. Like I say, Twitter, Facebook, send us messages. We'd love to get them. iTunes reviews as well are always awesome. And we will be maybe back sometime in the future talking about Star Wars in about 4 years' time.
Oh, something you suggested, Jack, I'm actually going to go ahead with.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend Annie said that she would listen to this show.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, and this is Jack's idea, I want to give him credit for it, but I'm going to say that, Annie, if you actually listened all the way through this,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
when I next see you after you listen to this, you have to say to me the words waffle cakes.
Yeah, Kirsten.
Nice.
Same.
If
Let's
you,
test.
if you don't say no, I mean I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't listen to the whole 2 hours of I was talking about random crap. But if you listen to all of it, you can say waffle cakes and prove it. Although it doesn't count if you skipped it ahead to the end to see what we said right at the end.
Yeah.
Danny, actually, if you're concerned at all that Anthony has been replaced by a very realistic cyborg, if you say the phrase "Blue Lobster" at Showtime tonight, he will turn off.
So,
Yeah.
waffle cakes and blue lobster. And I think I'm going to say Kirsten as well. You've got to say waffle cakes to me. In fact, bring waffle cakes.
And
if you don't have waffle-
Mum, if you're listening right now, I want waffle cakes tonight for dinner.
If there's no syrup, by help me God.
Okay, thank you for listening again. That's goodbye from me, Jack Marshall. Goodbye from Anthony Hobday.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Lazanne Fisher.
Bye.
Goodbye from James McFadden.
Goodbye.